Chapter 35. Old Master Jean was one of those who did not care about his life. That family inquired about what had happened to the Jean family over the years and immediately gave up. Not only did they apologize to Old Master Jean, saying that it was a misunderstanding, but they also gave Jean Bebe a car as compensation. However, Jean Bebe threw the car into the garage. She still liked this beetle. She felt that a girl driving a beetle was more adorable. Although she only looked adorable, her personality was not adorable at all. After all, the deceased playboy was merely a collateral relative. It was unnecessary for the ancient warrior family to fight each other to the death for a collateral relative. Old Master Jean was a lunatic, but he was not. Therefore, the head of the family blamed the parents of the collateral relative for not educating their children well and took back all the properties of the family that they were in charge of. As a result, Jean Bebe's nickname of Little Witch became more and more exaggerated. Lu Zhenming did not think that his family was more powerful than the ancient warrior family. The Lu family was in the middle of recuperating and growing. If they pissed off the Jean family, they would be screwed. You invited cousin Menjing to dinner just now. So, you were lying to us? Jean Bebe, however, looked at Lu Zhenming unhappily. Startled, Lu Zhenming hurried to explain, well, I don't need 100,000 for dinner. I mean, I don't have 100,000, but I do have enough for breakfast. Oh, give it to me then. Jean Bebe reached out her chubby little hand that had some baby fat. Lu Zhenming secretly cursed his bad luck, but he had to take out his meal card and give it to Jean Bebe. There are 7,000 or 8,000 in here. It's definitely enough for breakfast, all right. Got it. I'll take it. Jean Bebe put the meal card into her pocket with a smile. You can go now. However, you still owe me 93,000. The first half of Jean Bebe's words made Lu Zhenming feel relieved, but the second half almost made him stagger and fall to the ground. Is this a scam? I just said hello to you, and you owe me more than 90,000 out of the blue. Pfft. Cheng Menjing couldn't help but laugh when she saw Lu Zhenming being humiliated in front of Jean Bebe. However, when Lu Zhenming heard Cheng Menjing smile, he thought that he had succeeded in making the beauty smile. That 100,000 yuan could only be spent. In the past, there were beacons that teased the feudal lords. The purpose was to win the smile of a beauty. He didn't even need to set a fire. Just spending 100,000 yuan was worth it. Thinking of this, Lu Zhenming felt much better. When he returned to his seat, he was no longer depressed. Instead, he immediately called his father, Lu Zhenming. Zhenming, you're not studying properly at school. Why are you calling your mom? Lu Siwen was collecting the bills in the field. When he picked up Lu Zhenming's call, he was a little unhappy. Although his name was Lu Siwen, his words and actions were not polite at all. However, he couldn't change it, so he hoped that Lu Zhenming could be successful. Well, Dad, I want to apply for a sum of money to pick up a girl. Yesterday, Xiaofan cheated Lu Zhenming of more than 200,000 yuan. Today, Jean Bebe cheated him of 100,000 yuan. He was so short of money that he had to turn to Lu Siwen for help. Pick up a girl? You're not studying properly at school. Why are you picking up a girl? Lu Siwen was angry. I sent you to school to study. How dare you pick up a girl? Well, Dad, don't be angry. Let me finish. Lu Zhenming's forehead was covered with cold sweat. Dad, this time, I'm not picking up an ordinary girl. She's a high class, F***CKU. What high class are you picking up? Study hard. Lu Siwen said angrily. Dad, calm down. I plan to marry this girl. She is Cheng Menjing from the Cheng family. She is the one who broke off the engagement with the Xiao family. Lu Zhenming was afraid that Lu Siwen would hang up, so he hurried to explain. Oh. Although Lu Siwen hoped that his son would be successful, he was not a fool. Otherwise, he would not have cooperated with old Master Lu to make the Lu family a well-known family. When he heard that the girl Lu Zhenming was going after was Cheng Menjing, he was immediately interested. Are you sure? I can't say 100%, but I'm 50% sure. Because I found that Cheng Menjing seems to like violent boys. Moreover, she also plays with Jean Bebe, a domineering girl. I think she likes to bully people, and bullying is our strength. Lu Zhenming analyzed. Okay. How much do you want? Lu Siwen did not intervene this time. If Lu Zhenming could really get the young lady of the Cheng family, the Lu family and the Cheng family would be in-laws. They could not get help from the Cheng family forever, but at least the Lu family would be more successful in the next few years. Can you give me 1 million yuan first? Lu Zhenming asked tentatively. Okay. I will ask someone to transfer the money to your card later. Lu Siwen did not hesitate this time and said directly. Lu Zhenming suddenly felt a little regretful. Seeing that Lu Siwen agreed to his request without hesitation, it would have been better if he had asked for 2 million yuan. Jean Bebe was not from Class 1, Grade 3. However, even if the school leaders saw her sitting next to Cheng Menjing, they would not say anything. The Shen family was not willing to offend the Jean family because of such a trivial matter. However, Lu Zhenming was a little unhappy. With such a little devil following Cheng Menjing, it simply made it more difficult for him to pursue her. If he did not know Jean Bebe's character, Lu Zhenming would be very happy to have her. With such a big-breasted girl by Cheng Menjing's side, it would be very refreshing to have a threesome with her. However, it was obviously impossible. Unless Lu Zhenming was out of his mind, he would not have such a ridiculous idea. Why hasn't Xiaochen come yet? Miss Cheng looked at the time on her watch. It had been half an hour, but Xiaochen had not come yet. Can this guy get lost in a taxi? Cousin Menjing, are you worried about my brother-in-law? Jean Bebe was drinking papaya-flavored yogurt. Drink your papaya milk. Your breasts are almost as big as a football. Why are you still drinking? Cheng Menjing naturally would not admit that she was worried about Xiaochen. She was just afraid that Xiaochen would get lost. Cousin Menjing is jealous and envious. Jean Bebe, however, intentionally puffed out her chest. If you don't believe me, you can ask my brother-in-law. Does he prefer my breasts or Cousin Menjing's? Who's a flat-chested girl? I'm not small, either. I have a B-cup bra. Cheng Menjing did not want to be outdone. Only a B-cup. I was a C-cup when I was 10, Jean Bebe said. Sooner or later, you will have to hold it with your hands when you go out. Cheng Menjing was defeated. To be honest, she was indeed jealous and envious. That's fine. You have a servant anyway. Just ask him to hold it for you. Jean Bebe said unconcernedly, right, Cousin Menjing, you won't be jealous because my brother-in-law holds my breasts, will you? It has nothing to do with me even if he dies. Cheng Menjing said. However, Bebe, do you know that men and women should not touch each other? You asked him to help you. I was just joking. Jean Bebe was really joking. Who would hold their breasts when they go out? However, she looked at her own size and then at the papaya yogurt in her hand. She was really afraid that such a day would come. Therefore, she directly switched her papaya yogurt with Cheng Menjing's original yogurt. Let's switch. Cheng Menjing did not say anything. Anyway, she did not mind Jean Bebe taking a sip. In fact, she had wanted to buy papaya yogurt before, but she was too embarrassed to let Jean Bebe think that she wanted to enlarge her breasts. Therefore, she bought the original yogurt. Therefore, the switch was exactly what she wanted. This was the first time for Xiaochen to take a bus. The smell on the bus was really not flattering, especially the smell of chives, meat buns, and all kinds of food. However, the smell of the youtiao in the hand of a beautiful girl was quite tempting, which made Xiaochen feel hungry, however, the place where Xiao Chen got on the bus was outside the villa area. Naturally, there would not be such a breakfast place like the morning market. As for those places named Superb Kanji Shop, which looked very domineering, Xiao Chen had no desire to go in at all. A meal there would cost hundreds of yuan. Xiao Chen had no money. When he got off the bus, Xiao Chen suddenly found that Tang Tang happened to walk over from another direction with a bag of youtiao and white soybean milk in her hand. Xiao Chen's eyes lit up, almost glowing with greed. Tang Tang. Xiao Chen waved at Tang Tang. Tang Tang looked up and saw that Xiao Chen got off the bus and did not come with Cheng Menjing. She was a little surprised. From the way they walked together after school yesterday, Xiao Chen and Cheng Menjing should go to school together. Why did Xiao Chen come by bus alone? However, Tang Tang somewhat admired Xiao Chen's adaptability. He could even squeeze into the bus. But thinking of the way Xiao Chen wolfed down the steamed buns yesterday, Tang Tang knew that Xiao Chen's nature was still good. At least, he was not too affected by the habits of a playboy. You haven't had breakfast yet, right? I brought you youtiao and soybean milk. Go to the classroom to eat. Tang Tang shook the bag in her hand and said to Xiao Chen. Thank you. Xiao Chen grinned. He wanted to bear it and eat at noon. He did not expect Tang Tang to bring breakfast. You're so generous. I let you spend money. It's nothing. Tang Tang waved her hand indifferently. It's self-produced and self-marketed. There is no cost. By the way, why did you come by bus? Where is Cheng Menjing? Xiao Chen was about to ask what self-produced and self-marketed meant, but he was interrupted by Tang Tang. So, he did not ask. Instead, he said, she and Jean Bebe drove here. I took the bus. They drove? Tang Tang was a little indignant. Isn't it too much? Even if you are her servant, you don't have to treat her like this. You are not the only one in the bus. Take a bus or take a taxi. I chose to take a taxi. I earned 100 yuan in fare. It's worth it. Xiao Chen explained with a smile. The young lady was still very kind. Although she was a little arrogant, she was not bad in nature. So, Xiao Chen helped her to explain. That's more like it. Then you will have to pay 100 yuan every day. This month, you will earn a lot. Tang Tang nodded after listening. Since you are so rich, lunch is on you. Chapter 36. Okay, I'll treat you to a buffet, a roadside noodle shop. There are enough steamed buns and rolls. Xiao Chen said. Puff. Tang Tang was quite happy when she heard the first half of Xiao Chen's words. When she heard the second half, she laughed directly. How much can a noodle shop cost? However, she was not a picky person. She knew that it was not easy for Xiao Chen to save a little money, so she did not exploit him. That's a deal. Tang Tang and Xiao Chen walked into the classroom together talking and laughing. Cheng Menjing frowned. Did Xiao Chen come so late to find Tang Tang? Thinking that Xiao Chen took the money she gave him to find someone else, Miss Cheng was unhappy for a while. Humph, what kind of person is he? Tomorrow, I will buy a car and let you be my driver. Let's see if you still go to find Tang Tang. Miss Cheng's anger also had a reason. You used to be the young master of the Xiao family. You pursued Shen Jingxian and Ke Lin. That was fine. But now, you are not. You are my exclusive servant. You don't please me. You are around me, and you even hook up with Tang Tang. Although it was difficult to be jealous of Tang Tang's current appearance, Miss Cheng had seen the former Tang Tang. In the final analysis, it was Miss Cheng's tsundere disease. Zheng Xiaokuan also saw Xiao Chen and Tang Tang entering the door together. There was a flash of astonishment in his eyes. But when he saw the youtiao and soybean milk in Tang Tang's hands, he immediately showed a greedy expression. Tang Tang, is there a share for me? Of course, you and Xiao Chen both. Tang Tang put the youtiao and soybean milk on the table and said, eat it while it's hot. It's not a waste for me to come here. But, how can I run without losing weight? That's not bad. If you become a slender beauty, I won't even dare to eat your food, Xiao Chen said with a smile. This sentence wasn't loud, but it was heard by Cheng Menjing, who wasn't far away. She clenched her fists in anger. So you're ignoring me because I'm too beautiful? But it's not right. This guy used to pursue Lin and Shen Jingxian. Yes, he must be deceiving Tang Tang. Humph, I must find a chance to expose you. Zheng Xiaokuan had breakfast in the morning, so he couldn't eat more after eating half a fried dough stick and a bag of soy milk. Xiao Chen, on the other hand, ate all the rest, which stunned Tang Tang and Zheng Xiaokuan. Dude, you have such a good appetite? Zheng Xiaokuan said in amazement. Ordinary people could not eat so much for breakfast, but Xiao Chen was simply a glutton. Xiao Chen was also a little embarrassed. He could not eat these in the past, but since he began to cultivate, his appetite had increased greatly. However, this could not be explained, so he could only say, yes, at noon yesterday, I ate 4 or 5 steamed buns from Tang Tang, but I was not full. I also ate a big meal from Lu Zhenming. Awesome. Zheng Xiaokuan had to say the word, awesome. He could eat too much. However, Tang Tang felt that there was nothing wrong with Xiao Chen's big appetite. In her opinion, boys should eat ravenously, like Yu Xiaochuan, who ate shyly and pretended to be serious, which made Tang Tang feel very hypocritical. Looking at Xiao Chen who was ravenously eating over there, Lu Zhenming's eyes flashed a touch of malice. Eat, eat, eat. I will let you be proud for a while. Tonight, I will let you die without a burial place. Just now, Lei Dianfeng had sent a text message that the fugitives were in place. They could take action to kill Xiao Chen in the evening, which made Lu Zhenming's originally gloomy mood a lot better. The morning passed by quickly. What surprised Xiao Chen was that Lu Zhenming really didn't find trouble with him anymore. It was as if yesterday's matter had already passed. Xiao Chen was also a playboy before, so he had some understanding of the thoughts of these playboys. Yesterday, he suffered such a big loss. If Xiao Chen said to let it go, it was really hard to believe. If he was a gentleman, it would be fine, but Lu Zhenming was obviously not. He was not even a hypocrite, so Xiao Chen felt that Lu Zhenming would definitely not give up, but he was temporarily enduring. However, since Lu Zhenming did not trouble Xiao Chen was naturally happy to be at ease. At noon, Zheng Xiaokuan turned his head and looked at Xiao Chen. I heard from Tang Tang that you will treat us at noon and take us to a buffet? Tang Tang told Zheng Xiaokuan that Xiao Chen would treat them to a buffet, but she did not say what to eat, so Zheng Xiaokuan was a little excited. Although Zheng Xiaokuan's family was not ordinary, to be honest, the Zheng family was a martial arts family. Usually, the family education was relatively strict. Zheng Xiaokuan's food and use were all in the martial arts club. He rarely had pocket money, and he usually could not eat any delicacies. Otherwise, he would not be so excited when he saw the bag of abalones that Xiao Chen brought back yesterday. Well, let's go together? Xiao Chen asked with a smile. Okay, I'd be a fool not to take advantage of it. Zheng Xiaokuan said, and walked out of the classroom with Xiao Chen and Tang Tang. It was hard for Cheng Menjing to imagine how Xiao Chen, a young master who had lost his power, could win the favor of Tang Tang and Zheng Xiaokuan. Tang Tang's situation was similar, but Zheng Xiaokuan was different. Although the Zheng family was now forbearing, it had not been seriously damaged. The young master of the Zheng family stood up for Xiao Chen yesterday, which made Cheng Menjing feel very strange. Two beautiful girls, I wonder if I have the honor to dine with you too? This time, Lu Zhenming learned to be smart. He did not say that he would treat them, but only asked if they had the honor to dine together. Cheng Menjing looked at Lu Jinming, who was glued to her, and felt helpless. Suddenly, she realized that it was actually a good thing to have a nominal fiancé like Xiao Chen before. Although Chao Yuliang had expressed his love in the past, it was impossible for him to be so obvious. After all, at that time, Xiao Chen was not easy to deal with. Although he did not care about his fiancée, someone pursued her in front of him. Xiao Chen must have rushed up with Chen Jinpeng and Zhu Yingxiong directly. Even Chao Yuliang did not dare to go too far because of this kind of thing. After all, there were rules among the children of the aristocratic families. It was okay to pursue a famous flower without an owner, but if you pursued someone else's fiancée blatantly, it was not only a provocation to the person, but also a provocation to the family involved. Therefore, after the Cheng family broke off the engagement, Chao Yuliang began to court Cheng Menjing. However, he did not expect that Cheng Menjing would transfer to another school the next day. "Sister Menjing, we do need a servant to serve tea and pour water when we dine together. Since little Lu said it was his honor, why don't we give him a chance?" Jin Beibei looked at Lu Jinming with a malicious smile and said to Cheng Menjing. Lu Jinming immediately shuddered. "Damn it, why are you so mean, big-breasted girl? Dining together means eating at the same table. How could you arrange the role of a servant for me?" However, Lu Jinming dared not say anything. After thinking about it, he felt that it was good enough to serve Cheng Menjing. Others could not even serve him even if they wanted to. "Forget it, Beibei. We don't need a servant." Cheng Menjing slightly frowned and refused. "Lu Jinming, you go ahead with your business. I have something private to discuss with Beibei. It's not good to have others around when we dine together." "I see." Hearing Cheng Menjing's words, Lu Jinming had to give up and walked out of the classroom with slim monkey-like. "Cousin Menjing, why don't you let Lu Jinming be a servant?" Jin Beibei asked. "I lose my appetite just by looking at him. Not everyone can be a servant." Cheng Menjing hated people like Lu Jinming very much. Although Xiao Chen used to be a foppish playboy, he did not extort or bully his new classmates. However, Lu Jinming was no longer a foppish playboy but a criminal. Unconsciously, Cheng Menjing compared Xiao Chen with Lu Jinming. Even Cheng Menjing was shocked when she thought of that. However, she realized that among all the foppish playboys around Cheng Menjing, only Xiao Chen was slightly more normal. Humph, damn Xiao Chen. He was kicked out of the family. Now I have no shield. That's true. Only brother-in-law Xiao Chen can be a servant, Jin Beibei said. "Beibei, will you die if you don't mention Xiao Chen?" Cheng Menjing was even angrier when Xiao Chen was mentioned. "You know that's not what I meant." Chapter 37. In an RV parked at the entrance of Songning City's No. 1 high school, a young man sat in the car with a gloomy face. Beside him was an unremarkable middle-aged man in a black coat. "Young master, old master has asked me to assist you," the man in black said respectfully. "Tonight, Xiao Chen must die." The young man spat out these words lightly, then continued, "Don't leave any evidence. Find a place where there is no one, and do it quickly." "Yes, young master." The man in black nodded. "Okay, you go and prepare, I'll leave first." The young man didn't stop and directly got out of the car, but he was a little displeased as he muttered to himself, "Xiao Chen, I didn't expect you to live after I pushed you off the cliff. This time, let's see if you'll still die." As for the limousine, after the young man alighted from the car, it quietly drove towards Songning City No. 2 High School. Although the black-clothed man felt that there was no need for him, a martial artist at the pinnacle of level 3 inner strength, to kill a good-for-nothing with no inner strength, he naturally wouldn't say much since it was arranged by the old master. "Isn't this Chen Jinpeng?" Zhu Yingxiong's fat body suddenly blocked Chen Jinpeng's way. Zhu Yingxiong had long wanted to find an opportunity to scold Chen Jinpeng, but he couldn't catch his shadow. Now that he saw it, how could he let it go? "Zhu Yingxiong, what are you doing?" Chen Jinpeng frowned. He didn't expect to meet Zhu Yingxiong during lunch break. Although he was a level 2 internal energy martial artist and Zhu Yingxiong was just an ordinary person with less than level 1 internal energy, the Zhu family was no longer the Zhu family of the past. The Zhu family had that old master, so it could be said that the Zhu family's status was no less than the Xiao family's. Even if Zhu Yingxiong was a good-for-nothing, he could still do whatever he wanted in school, so Chen Jinpeng really didn't dare to hit him. Chen Jinpeng, I've always heard that there is a kind of person with a rebellious bone in the back of their head. I'm wondering where this rebellious bone is located. I want to open this kind of person's skull to see. What do you think? Zhu Yingxiong looked at Chen Jinpeng with a sinister smile. You, don't mess around, this is school. Chen Jinpeng was really afraid that Zhu Yingxiong would go crazy. Zhu Yingxiong, don't be sarcastic. At this time, Chao Yuliang's voice suddenly sounded. Chen Jinpeng turned around and saw Chao Yuliang walking over. He immediately let out a sigh of relief. Brother Liang, this fatty is threatening me. Chen Jinpeng was emboldened. Alright, Zhu Yingxiong, Chen Jinpeng is abandoning the darkness for the light. Xiaochen didn't say anything, so why are you making a fuss? The emperor is not anxious, but the eunuchs are anxious. Chao Yuliang said coldly. Count yourself lucky. Zhu Yingxiong saw that Chao Yuliang had come and knew that he couldn't teach Chen Jinpeng a lesson. He could only shake his fat body and walk away quickly. Xiaochen spent the whole afternoon peacefully. When school was over, Xiaochen didn't go to Cheng Menjing and Jin Beibei. After all, he had taken the taxi fare. Walking out of the classroom with Zheng Xiaokuan and Tang Tang, Xiaochen was going to take the bus. But when he arrived at the bus stop, he found that there was a sea of people there. It seemed that everyone had left school together. Therefore, Xiaochen didn't plan to wait for the bus. He estimated that even if there was a bus, it would be difficult for him to get on it. If he had the time to wait for the next bus, he might have walked back. This morning, Xiaochen felt how crowded the bus was. He almost didn't get on it. Therefore, Xiaochen directly walked toward the villa. It didn't take long for Xiaochen to go from noisy to quiet. Soon, there was only Xiaochen on the road. Especially, the closer he was to the villa area, the fewer people there were. How many people were going to the villa area on foot? Those who walked like Xiaochen were quite different. Someone was following him. Xiaochen suddenly found that he was being followed. It had to be said that a cultivator's immense divine sense and mental strength were extraordinarily powerful. If it was the Xiaochen of the past, he definitely wouldn't be able to sense that someone was following him. However, the current Xiaochen didn't even need to deliberately sense it to be able to sense that someone was following him. However, Xiaochen didn't know if this was based on the fact that the follower's strength wasn't very high. If the follower's strength was very high, would he still have this kind of feeling? That's right, your follower's strength isn't very high. If their strength was high, not to mention you, even I would have a hard time sensing them. After all, in your body, I can't even unleash a 10,000th of my previous strength. Elder Sky's voice suddenly rang out in Xiaochen's mind. 1/10,000th? Can you not be so exaggerated? Xiaochen curled his lips. Naturally, he didn't believe Elder Heaven Ancestor's words, you can feel it too? One is a Stage 3 inner force martial artist, and the other is a Stage 4 inner force martial artist at the peak of Stage 3, Elder Heaven Ancestor said. Not only could he sense that someone was following him, but he could also sense their strength. What? One is a Stage 3 inner force martial artist, and the other is at the peak of Stage 3. Two people are following me? And their strength is not high? Xiaochen was shocked. He was only at the peak of Stage 1 inner force. Although he was almost at Stage 2 of Qi refinement, even if he was at Stage 2, he still wouldn't be a match for these two people. Moreover, Xiaochen only felt that someone was following him. Now that he carefully felt it, it was indeed two people. But what made Xiaochen feel strange was that these two people weren't together. Instead, they were following him from the left and right. It seemed that these two people weren't in the same group. That's right, Xiaochen, think about what to do. Elder Heaven Ancestor's voice this time was no longer as playful as before. It seemed that he was taking this matter very seriously. Do you have any ideas? Xiaochen's heart skipped a beat as he quickly asked. I have to say, your body is really too weak. Even I can only help you temporarily control one person's thoughts. The Stage 3 Inner Force Martial Artist is about the same, but the Stage 3 Inner Force Martial Artist basically has no hope, unless you are a Stage 2 Qi Refinement Stage Cultivator. Elder Heaven Ancestor said seriously, so, you better think of a way to escape. Who told you to come to such a remote place? You're blaming me? This is the only way I can go home. Xiaochen smiled bitterly, but in his mind, he was thinking about how to deal with these two people. Got it. Xiaochen thought of something and quickly said to Elder Heaven Ancestor, Elder Heaven Ancestor, listen to my command later. You take over my body and let the Stage 3 Inner Force Martial Artist attack the Stage 3 Inner Force Martial Artist. Okay. Elder Heaven Ancestor readily agreed. After all, if something happened to Xiaochen, it wouldn't do him any good. After following for so long, it's time to come out, right? Xiaochen suddenly stopped and said indifferently to someone behind him, Xiaosan, help me get rid of this tail. Originally, after hearing Xiaochen's first sentence, whether it was the Stage 3 Inner Force Martial Artist or the Stage 3 Inner Force Martial Artist, they didn't take it seriously. They didn't believe that Xiaochen, who couldn't cultivate inner force, could find them. Not to mention that Xiaochen was an ordinary person, even a Stage 3 Inner Force Martial Artist or a Stage 5 Inner Force Martial Artist wouldn't be able to find them if they didn't look carefully. A martial artist's divine sense and mental strength were very limited. However, after hearing Xiaochen's last sentence, their hearts trembled at the same time. Who was Xiaosan? Xiaochen's bodyguard? These words made the two of them release their divine sense and mental strength at the same time to explore the surroundings. With this exploration, they really found the other party's existence. This made the two of them shocked at the same time. Xiaochen wasn't lying, there really was a bodyguard following them. At this point, the two of them didn't hide anymore and jumped out at the same time. These two people probably didn't think that there was no bodyguard among the two of them. It was completely Xiaochen's bluff, but the two of them didn't say anything. They didn't make a move. Both of them could feel that the other party's strength was similar to their own, so they were a little afraid of each other. In their hearts, their goal was to kill Xiaochen, not to fight with the other party's bodyguard. Elder Heaven Ancestor, let the Stage 3 Inner Force Martial Artist attack the other Stage 3 Inner Force Martial Artist. Xiaochen said to Elder Heaven Ancestor. Okay. The next moment, Elder Heaven Ancestor took over Xiaochen's body and began to use his divine sense and mental strength to affect the Stage 3 Inner Force Martial Artist. Although the effect wouldn't be too long as the two of them fought, it was enough. Elder Heaven Ancestor also saw through Xiaochen's evil idea. He had to say that this idea was a bit immoral, to let two people who were also plotting against him fight, no matter how he looked at it, it was a bit of a trap. The Stage 3 Inner Force Martial Artist suddenly made a move, and without warning, he attacked the Stage 3 Inner Force Martial Artist. The Stage 3 Inner Force Martial Artist was stunned. He didn't expect that the other party's strength was lower than him, but he dared to make the first move. Even if the other party was Xiaochen's bodyguard, wasn't it a bit too fierce? However, since Xiaosan made a move, the Stage 3 Inner Force Martial Artist could only fight back. In an instant, the two of them fought. Xiaochen's strength was a bit too weak. It was more than enough to control Chen Jinpeng, but it was a bit difficult to control the Stage 3 Inner Force Martial Artist. In just a short while, the Stage 3 Inner Force Martial Artist returned to normal. However, he couldn't figure out why he suddenly attacked Xiao Chen's bodyguard, Xiao San, who seemed to be stronger than him. However, since he had already made a move, he could only continue to fight passively. There was no turning back. If he retreated at this moment, he would die a horrible death. Therefore, the Stage 3 Inner Force martial artist could only bite the bullet and fight back and forth with the Stage 3 Inner Force martial artist. He didn't think that if he begged for mercy and admitted defeat, the other party would let him go. Looking at the other party's appearance, it was obvious that the other party wanted to kill him, so the Stage 3 Inner Force martial artist had to fight with all his might. Therefore, both of them thought that the other party was Xiao Chen's bodyguard, and the fight was inextricably linked. Chapter 38. Of course, if one of them spoke before the fight started, it might reveal a flaw. But at this moment, the two of them could not afford to be distracted by talking. At this time, whoever was distracted by talking would be unlucky. Therefore, the two of them tacitly shut their mouths and fought to their heart's content. As for Xiao Chen, although he already had the strength equivalent to a martial artist at the peak of the first stage of inner strength, he still lacked battle experience. In school, even if he fought with others, it would be a fight between students. It was not a cruel battle to the death between martial artists. Therefore, Xiao Chen did not leave. Instead, he stood at a distance and carefully watched the battle between the two of them. He wanted to learn some experience from their moves and how to counter them. When the time came, he would not be caught off guard when fighting against his enemies. Although the two of them were fighting with their lives on the line, the difference in strength was also very obvious. One of them had just reached Stage 3 Inner Force not long ago, while the other was already at the peak of Stage 3 Inner Force. Unknowingly, the Stage 3 Inner Force martial artist was at a disadvantage. However, although the other martial artist at the peak of Stage 3 Inner Force had the upper hand, it was obviously not particularly good. This was because he had already been hit several times, causing his speed to slow down. It was just that the Stage 3 Inner Force martial artist was in a more miserable state. Very soon, the physical strength of both of them began to show signs of exhaustion. Because they were fighting with their lives on the line, both of them suffered serious injuries. The Stage 3 Inner Force martial artist and the martial artist at the peak of Stage 3 Inner Force were both complaining in their hearts. They did not expect their opponents to be so desperate. This was simply killing them. Both of them had to use all their strength. Even if they were injured, they had to grit their teeth and persevere. If either of them retreated, what awaited them would be death. The Stage 3 Inner Force martial artist's heart was getting colder and colder. His opponent was really too powerful. Even if he had gone all out, he was still losing. He was afraid that in the end, he would definitely be left on the spot. Thinking of this, the Stage 3 Inner Force martial artist could not help but have a flash of ruthlessness in his eyes. Since he was going to die anyway, he might as well drag someone down with him before he died. That's right, this Stage 3 Inner Strength martial artist was the fugitive that Lu Xunming had found through Lei Dianfeng. He had already disregarded life and death. Since he was going to die today, he might as well die a worthy death. Go to hell. The Stage 3 Inner Force martial artist suddenly changed his strategy of attacking and defending. Instead, he ignored his own weaknesses and smashed his fists towards the peak Stage 3 Inner Force martial artist. The martial artist at the peak of Stage 3 of Inner Force was also shocked. He did not expect his opponent to use a desperate move to end the battle. But thinking about it, he was Xiao Chen's bodyguard, so it was reasonable for him to be loyal to his master. Therefore, the martial artist at the peak of Stage 3 had no choice but to continue fighting. He knew that the difference in strength between him and Third Master Xiao in front of him wasn't too big. Even if he wanted to run, he definitely wouldn't be able to. Once he showed any signs of fear, Third Master Xiao would take advantage of the situation and chase after him, and he would die a terrible death. But now, there was still a chance for him to turn the situation around. Maybe he could survive. Therefore, the martial artist at the peak of stage 3 of inner force also made his move. He also ignored the weakness of his body and smashed his fists towards the martial artist at the peak of stage 3 of inner force. Seeing this scene, Xiaofan, who was not far away, almost laughed out loud. These two idiots, did they really think that their opponent was his bodyguard? How could they fight so hard? However, just as Xiaofan was feeling happy, he heard the voice of Elder Heaven Ancestor pouring cold water on him. Xiaofan, are you very happy? Elder Heaven Ancestor asked coldly. Yes, Elder Heaven Ancestor, aren't you happy that you escaped? Xiaofan was stunned. This time, I was really lucky to escape, but have you ever thought about what would happen if one of them spoke and your plan failed? Elder Heaven Ancestor asked. This. After listening to Elder Heaven Ancestor's words, Xiaofan suddenly felt scared. Yes, if he couldn't successfully provoke these two people to fight, then the one who would be dead now would be him. Actually, I'm not saying these words to discourage you. I just want to tell you that although crafty plots and schemes are important, your own strength is the most important. If you were a stage 3 refinement stage cultivator, you would have the strength to fight, but your current strength is too weak. Elder Heaven Ancestor said. I understand, I will work hard to cultivate. Xiaofan nodded and said. You have worked hard enough, and your cultivation speed is fast enough. Elder Heaven Ancestor said. Then what did you mean by what you said before? Xiaofan couldn't help but smile bitterly. So what Elder Heaven Ancestor said before was nonsense. It means that you should continue to work hard. Elder Heaven Ancestor said. All right. Xiaofan shrugged and continued to watch the battle. Although Elder Heaven Ancestor's words were nonsense, it made Xiaofan realize the importance of strength. However, Xiaofan was a little regretful. Why didn't he meet Elder Heaven Ancestor earlier? If he had met Elder Celestial a step earlier, he would have been a cultivator above the 4th or 5th level of the refinement stage. At that time, would he still need to endure? At that time, even if his father disappeared, the Qing family wouldn't easily break off the engagement. After all, a young expert with 4 or 5 layers of inner strength was already a very outstanding existence in the 9 aristocratic families. No matter how angry Grandfather Qing was, he would still be very clear-headed and let the matter be, and not blame it on Xiaofan. No family would push such a young expert out of the door. This was equivalent to letting other families win over Xiaofan. And no matter how much pressure the Xiao family was under, it was impossible for them to drive Xiaofan out of the Xiao family. This was the benefit of strength, but Xiaofan still needed to rely on his own efforts. Boom dash, a loud sound rang out. The Stage 3 Refinement Stage Martial Artist and the Peak Stage 3 Refinement Stage Martial Artist collided, making a deafening sound that made Xiaofan's ears ring. The strong wind from the collision made Xiaofan take 2 steps back. The 2 martial artists flew out at the same time. The Stage 3 Inner Strength Martial Artist fell to the ground and vomited blood. His nose and ears were also bleeding. It was obvious that he would not survive. On the other hand, although the Stage 3 Inner Strength Martial Artist couldn't get up from the ground and kept vomiting blood, it was obvious that he could still be saved. If he was rescued in time, he could still live. As for whether or not he could recover from such a serious injury, it was hard to say. It depended on his luck. Elder Heaven Ancestor, does the one who didn't die still have the ability to kill me? Xiaofan was very rational and didn't walk over. Instead, he asked Elder Heaven Ancestor. No, you have the ability to kill him. Elder Heaven Ancestor said, if there is no one to save him now, he's just like a crossbow. He barely has the strength of a Stage 1 Refinement Stage Martial Artist. Xiaofan nodded and let out a sigh of relief. He strode over to the Stage 3 Refinement Stage Martial Artist. The Stage 3 Refinement Stage Martial Artist was obviously stunned. He didn't expect Xiaofan to not run away at this time. Instead, he walked over. Wasn't he courting death? Although he was seriously injured, he still had the strength of a Stage 1 refinement stage martial artist. If he wanted to kill this useless Xiaofan, it would be as easy as flipping his hand. Could it be that Xiaofan had something else to rely on? Or did Xiaofan think that he was injured to the point that he couldn't move? This Stage 3 refinement stage martial artist was naturally the man in black who was in the limousine at the entrance of Songning High School at noon. At this point, he finally understood why the elder master made a fuss and sent him to kill Xiaofan. There was no other reason. The elder master probably expected that Xiaofan had a bodyguard by his side. He just didn't expect that the bodyguard's strength was a Stage 3 refinement stage martial artist, which was similar to him. However, the man in black didn't directly kill Xiaofan. Although he still had the strength of a Stage 1 refinement stage martial artist, that was strength. If Xiaofan turned around and ran, his physical strength might not be able to keep up with Xiaofan. Who sent you? Xiaofan was very unhappy. It was already confusing enough that someone wanted to kill him and pushed him off the cliff. Now, there were two groups of people who wanted to kill him. Who were these two groups of people? Were they with the people who pushed him off the cliff last time, or were they not? Do you think that I will tell you? The man in black looked at Xiaofan mockingly. I didn't expect that there would be a bodyguard by Xiaofan's side. I was wrong. But next time, you won't be so lucky. Next time? Xiaofan frowned slightly. Yes, next time, it's... As he said that, the man in black saw that Xiaofan was close to him. He suddenly jumped up from the ground, turned his hand into a fist, and attacked Xiaofan. Xiaofan's eyes slightly focused. If it weren't for the Elder Heaven Ancestor's reminder, he would really be caught off guard at this moment. However, at this time, Xiaofan had already made sufficient preparations. When the black-clothed man's fist came smashing over, Xiaofan's figure suddenly flashed, dodging the black-clothed man's fierce attack. Then, he followed up with a punch, smashing towards the black-clothed man's chest. The whole movement was done in one breath. In fact, Xiaofan was just applying what he learned on the spot. Previously, when he saw the man in black and the dead Stage 3 inner force martial artist fighting, Xiaofan had a slight grasp of the man in black's punches. Also, because the man in black was seriously injured, although he still had the strength of Stage 1 inner force, his speed and reflexes were obviously affected. Most importantly, the man in black never thought that Xiaofan, a useless person who couldn't cultivate inner force, could dodge his fierce attack, and even dare to counterattack. This made him feel unprepared and unbelievable. He watched as Xiaofan's fist smashed into his chest, making a loud bang sound. The man in black's chest suddenly caved in, and his whole body was hit by Xiaofan. His eyes flashed a touch of shock and doubt. You actually hid your strength. Inner Force Stage 1 Peak. Chapter 39. After saying this, the black-clothed man's body fell heavily to the ground. He suddenly spat out a mouthful of black blood. He died with his eyes wide open. He was very unwilling. He underestimated his enemy. Not only did he not think that Xiaofan had a bodyguard, but he also did not think that Xiaofan was also a martial artist, and he was at the peak of Stage 1 inner force. The strength that hit his body was the strength of the peak of Stage 1 inner force. Phew. Xiaofan took a deep breath. If he was hit by the black-clothed man's fist, he would not die, but he would definitely be seriously injured. If he did not have a doctor and recovery medicine with him, he would not be able to get up for a few months after he went back. If he did not recover well, it might affect his strength in the future. Therefore, Xiaofan did not regret killing the black-clothed man, but he was not sure who he was. However, if the black-clothed man was not dead, he probably could not say. Looking at the black-clothed man's appearance, he was obviously a loyal person. Xiaochen could only look for clues from his body. However, what made Xiaochen very disappointed was that the black-clothed man seemed to be a very cautious person. This could also be seen from his previous silence. He should be a death warrior. There was nothing on him that could prove his identity, not even a mobile phone or an ID card. The only thing on him other than clothes was a photo. However, this photo was a photo of Xiaochen. It seemed that the black-clothed man was only relying on this to prevent him from mistaking him for someone else. As for the other things, there was nothing else, which made Xiaochen very disappointed. However, what made Xiaochen a little puzzled was that the black-clothed man was also hiding his strength in the word also. Could it be that there were other people who were hiding their strength? Elder Heaven, if he didn't die, would you be able to get something out of him through your spiritual power? Like hypnosis? Xiaochen asked with some regret, because he suddenly thought of this possibility. No, I can't. Your body is too weak, and I'm just a soul now. I'm also very weak. It's already not easy for me to affect that stage 3 inner force martial artist. You want to hypnotize me? Elder Heaven Ancestor flatly denied Xiaochen's idea. If I were stronger, I could try. But right now, I definitely can't. Alright. Xiaochen gave up on looking for clues from the man in black and turned to the stage 3 inner force martial artist who had died earlier. He looked like a ruthless person with a hideous scar on his face. He did not look like a good person at first glance. Xiaochen bent down and began to search his body. However, to Xiaochen's disappointment, this guy seemed to be a bachelor. There was nothing valuable on him. After searching for a long time, Xiaochen only found a card. Fighter number 3, Vicious Wolf. There were only a few words on the card. It seemed to be something similar to the registration card used before a competition. Could this person be an athlete? However, this card was not very formal. It should not be a large-scale competition. This increased the difficulty of identifying Xiaochen's identity. After all, nowadays, schools, companies, and units would hold sports meetings. Even if this person was an athlete, Xiaochen did not know where the sports meeting was held. Of course, boxing events were still very rare. Unless it was some school's club competition, most companies and units would not hold this event. Could it be that this person was a school student? As soon as this thought came to mind, Xiaochen immediately shook his head and denied this speculation. After all, this person looked to be in his 30s or 40s. How could there be such an old uncle student? Moreover, this person had a fierce look on his face. He did not look like a student at all. Especially the long scar on his face, he looked more like a gangster. If that was the case, could it be a sports meeting in a gang? Yes. Xiaochen suddenly thought of an underground sport in Songning City, underground boxing. In the past, when Xiaochen was the young master of the Xiao family, he often went to the underground racetrack with Chen Jinpeng, Zhu Yingxiong, Chao Yuliang, and others. Just like the underground racetrack, there was another underground sport, which was underground boxing. Although Xiaochen had not participated in it, he had heard about it. One was gambling on cars, and the other was gambling on boxing. These were the methods used by the local gangsters to amass money. As a matter of fact, there were many spectators who placed their bets. When added up, it would be a huge sum of money. As for this Scarface, no matter how he looked at it, it was in line with the image of an underground boxing fighter. Perhaps this card was his registration card when he participated in the competition. He did not think that this thing was important, so he did not throw it away. In other words, this Scarface originally planned to go to the underground boxing arena after killing him. That was why he kept this card. It was just that he never dreamed that he would be left here. Xiaochen took out the card and put it in his pocket. As for the photo of the black-shirted man, he did not take it away. If he took it away, it might alert the enemy and let the person hiding behind the scenes know that the black-shirted man's death was related to him. Xiao Chen's current goal was to let the person behind the scenes not know that the death of the two people was related to him. He only wanted to create an accident where the two people accidentally had a conflict and killed each other. But from the looks of it now, Xiao Chen's scheme could be considered very successful. No one would be able to suspect him. After doing all this, Xiao Chen did not stay at all. He turned around and left. Although there was no one passing by for a long time, Xiao Chen could not guarantee that no one would come after a long time. Xiao Chen did not want anyone to see him here. After quickly leaving this ominous place, Xiao Chen was slightly relieved. With Xiao Chen's divine sense, he could sense that there was no one nearby. Out of this empty alley, there was a lot of traffic outside. Xiao Chen randomly found a convenience store on the side of the road and walked in. He took a cooking recipe from the shelf and took a few bags of biscuits and instant noodles, as well as lunch boxes and other things. After paying the bill, he walked to the villa area. Although Xiao Chen only pretended to be a prodigal, he did not have the opportunity to cook on weekdays. So, it was really unrealistic for him to cook directly. He could only buy some fast food for 2 days first. Then, when he learned how to cook, he would buy the food himself. As soon as Xiao Chen entered, Cheng Menjing asked him in a very displeased manner, "Where have you been?" She was so angry at home. Yi Xiaoye made a bowl of instant noodles, which filled the living room with the fragrance. The eldest miss was so greedy that she went to ask Yi Xiaoye for a bag. However, Yi Xiaoye said coldly, "If you want to eat it, buy it yourself." Cheng Menjing was so angry that smoke was coming out of her nostrils and nose. Cheng Menjing was really hungry. Otherwise, she would not be interested in a bag of instant noodles. She suddenly remembered that there was no food in the villa after she got off Jean Beibei's car. Why did she go out last night and sleep on Xiao Chen's body? Wasn't it because she wanted to go out to eat? Yi Xiaoye did not give it to Xiao Chen. She just waited in the living room for Xiao Chen to come back and take her to eat. However, she did not see Xiao Chen after waiting for a long time. She wanted to call Xiao Chen, but she found that she did not have Xiao Chen's phone number at all. Also, she was too embarrassed to call Cheng Zhongming to ask. Therefore, the eldest miss could only wait in the living room bitterly. It was not until Xiao Chen appeared slowly that she almost became a stone gazing at her husband. Xiao Chen was a little confused about the eldest miss's attitude. Why did she get angry for no reason? However, thinking that he had indeed wasted a lot of time, and it was not appropriate to tell Cheng Menjing about the attack on the road, Xiao Chen had to wave the bag in his hand and said, "I was afraid that we would have nothing to eat tonight, so I bought some biscuits and instant noodles." Did you go to buy food? Cheng Menjing's face turned red. She suddenly felt a little ashamed. It turns out that Xiao Chen did not come back so late for no reason, but he thought of me and bought food for me. However, although Miss Cheng thought so in her heart, her arrogant character still made her pretend to not care. "Oh. It's instant noodles. I have never eaten this kind of thing before. But since there is nothing to eat, I will give you face and eat a little." In the past, Xiao Chen really did not find that Cheng Menjing was so arrogant. Now that he had more contact with her, he felt that the eldest miss was quite fun. He almost couldn't hold back his laughter. However, Xiao Chen was afraid that Cheng Menjing would be embarrassed, so he pretended not to know and said, "Thank you, eldest miss, for giving me face. You quickly go to the instant noodles. I am hungry." Cheng Menjing sat on the sofa, then picked up the remote control and turned on the TV. Yi Xiaoye, who had just gone downstairs to the kitchen to boil medicine, happened to see this scene. She couldn't help but twitch her mouth and said disdainfully, "The ability to command others. Who are you talking about?" Cheng Menjing originally had a problem with Yi Xiaoye. There are so many bags of instant noodles. Can't she give me one bag? Now that Xiao Chen cooked noodles for me, she still came to make sarcastic remarks. It's really hateful. Whoever did it is responsible. Yi Xiaoye said indifferently. After that, she ignored Cheng Menjing and went into the kitchen. Miss Cheng was furious, but she couldn't refute Yi Xiaoye's words. Yi Xiaoye had made it clear that whoever did it should be blamed. If Cheng Menjing refuted Yi Xiaoye's words, wouldn't she be admitting that Yi Xiaoye had scolded her? Wasn't that equivalent to being scolded? Yi Xiaoye, I'll remember it. Cheng Menjing fiercely remembered what happened today in her heart. Xiao Chen was in the kitchen, boiling water with an electric kettle. After entering the kitchen, Xiao Chen found that he forgot to buy an electric kettle. Fortunately, there was one in the kitchen, otherwise Xiao Chen would have to run out. Yi Xiaoye walked into the kitchen and glanced at the kettle that Xiao Chen boiled water with. She said, "That kettle is mine." Xiao Chen was slightly stunned. Thinking of Yi Xiaoye's overbearing attitude yesterday, he couldn't help but smile bitterly. Chapter 40. But you can use it. After Yi Xiaoye finished this sentence, she no longer paid attention to Xiao Chen. Instead, she began to fiddle with the clay pot that was used to boil medicine, preparing to boil the medicinal soup. Xiao Chen didn't expect Yi Xiaoye to say this. He couldn't help but say gratefully, "Thank you. I'm learning to cook these days, so I have to eat instant noodles for a few days. When I master it, I will treat you to a meal." Since Yi Xiaoye was generous, Xiao Chen naturally needed to show some kindness. After all, they were under the same roof. Xiao Chen didn't want to make the relationship too stiff. Oh. Yi Xiaoye didn't seem to care. She responded faintly and didn't look up. Instead, she carefully fiddled with her pot of medicinal herbs. Soon, the hot water was ready. Xiao Chen made 2 bowls of instant noodles and brought them to the living room. One bowl was given to Cheng Menjing, and the other bowl was opened by himself. Then, he ate it quickly. Cheng Menjing slowly opened the lid of the lunchbox and ate the noodles in small mouthfuls. Not to mention, this instant noodles tasted good. However, when she heard Xiao Chen slurping the noodles, she suddenly became a little angry. "Hey, can't you be a gentleman in front of this lady? No wonder the engagement was broken off. Who would marry you like this?" Puff. Xiao Chen spat out a mouthful of noodles, and it sprayed directly into the lady's lunchbox. Ahem. You broke off the engagement first, and then you know that I eat like this, okay? Listening to your tone, it seems that the person who broke off the engagement is someone else. Xiao Chen, I'm going to kill you. Cheng Menjing didn't care about the matter of breaking off the engagement. She looked at the top of the lunchbox in her hand, and the half of the noodles that Xiao Chen spat out was hanging. Cheng Menjing's eyes were about to spit out fire. How do you want me to eat it? I'm sorry. Xiao Chen scratched his head helplessly. Could he be blamed for this? If Cheng Menjing hadn't said such a strange thing, would he have laughed? What's the use of being sorry? Cheng Menjing was eating happily just now and felt that the taste was good, but now she couldn't eat at all. Could it be that she ate Xiao Chen's saliva? I'll eat this. I'll make you another bowl. Xiao Chen wasn't full yet. With his appetite, one lunchbox wasn't enough for him. As he spoke, he took the lunchbox from Missy's hands and stuffed it into his own bowl. Then, he walked towards the kitchen while eating. When Cheng Menjing heard that Xiao Chen wanted to make a new bowl of noodles for her, the anger in her heart dissipated a lot. Then I'll give you a chance to make up for your mistake. Don't put the vegetable buns in the instant noodles. They're dry and not tasty. Cheng Menjing just didn't like to eat the vegetable buns in the instant noodles. This time, she could save a lot of trouble. However, looking at Xiao Chen eating happily, Cheng Menjing suddenly found that something was wrong. She said angrily, "Xiao Chen, you're taking advantage of me." Xiao Chen was stunned. He thought, how did I take advantage of you? I bought the instant noodles. I ate 2 bags. I can't say that I'm taking advantage of you, right? You. Cheng Menjing didn't know how to explain. She held it in for a long time before saying, "You want to kiss me indirectly." Huh? Xiaochen listened to Missy's strange explanation and understood. It turns out that eating Missy's leftovers is an indirect kiss? Xiaochen was a little dumbfounded. You went to the hotel to sleep. Can it be interpreted as having slept with a lot of people indirectly? Yi Xiaoya just walked out of the kitchen and went to the refrigerator to get something. When she heard Cheng Menjing's words, she suddenly said coldly, "Don't take ignorance as your personality." You. Cheng Menjing listened to Yi Xiaoya's words, and she was so angry that she couldn't speak. Xiaochen, you explain for me. What else can you do except to order others when something happens? Yi Xiaoya took out a plastic container from the refrigerator. She didn't know what was in it, and then she took out a small fruit from it. After she closed the plastic container and put it in the refrigerator again, she turned around and returned to the kitchen. When has Cheng Menjing suffered such humiliation? This Yi Xiaoya is really bad. Since I moved in, she has been opposing me everywhere. It has only been 2 days. If this continues, Cheng Menjing is really afraid that I will be angered to death. After Xiaochen finished eating the noodles, he brushed Missy's bento box clean. He reheated the hot water, and was making instant noodles for Missy. Yi Xiaoya just walked in. Xiaochen couldn't help but say, "Yi Xiaoya, Menjing's order is actually not a problem. I am her servant. It is my duty to do these things." Cheap wretch. Yi Xiaoya's eyes flashed a trace of contempt. There are people who like to be servants for others. Xiaochen couldn't help but smile bitterly. It wasn't that he liked to be Cheng Menjing's servant, but he really had no other way. Moreover, if it weren't for Cheng Menjing taking him in, he really didn't know what to do. But these secrets, Xiaochen couldn't explain to Yi Xiaoya. He could only shrug and smile. Everyone has their own helplessness. You can't change your own life, so you can only adapt to it. Yi Xiaoya's expression moved slightly, but she didn't say anything. Instead, she threw the small fruit that she had just taken out from the refrigerator into the clay pot. Suddenly, the kitchen was filled with the smell of medicinal materials. The smell of decocting medicine was naturally strong and unpleasant. Missy's instant noodles were contaminated by the smell of medicine. It didn't have the previous smooth and fragrant taste. This allowed Cheng Menjing to find a place to vent. She put down the bento box in her hand and shouted in the direction of the kitchen, "Some people really have no public morality. The house is rented together, but she made some messy smell. Does she want to suffocate others? If you want to decoct medicine, go to your own room to do it. Don't disturb others." However, what Cheng Menjing didn't expect was that Yi Xiaoya just went out of the kitchen and looked at Cheng Menjing coldly. Then, she directly unplugged the power on the electric clay pot and walked out of the kitchen with the hot clay pot. Cheng Menjing was shocked. Is this Yi Xiaoya crazy and wants to pour this hot medicinal soup on me? However, Yi Xiaoya didn't stay. She wasn't afraid of the heat. She went upstairs with the clay pot. Then, after a while, the sound of the door closing came from upstairs. Obviously, Yi Xiaoya ran back to her room to decoct medicine. This move made Xiaochen a little surprised, but now it seemed that Yi Xiaoya wasn't really an unreasonable person. As long as it was wrong, she would accept it humbly. However, this made it hard for Missy Cheng Menjing. She finally found a reason to attack Yi Xiaoya, but the result was a punch on cotton. Yi Xiaoya really accepted it humbly and went to her own room to decoct medicine, but Missy didn't feel victorious at all. Humph. Cheng Menjing picked up the lunchbox and continued to eat, but it was as if the noodles in the box were Yi Xiaoya, which made Cheng Menjing gnash her teeth. Xiaochen felt that Miss Cheng at the moment was quite cute. If he knew her earlier, perhaps he would like her very much. After all, This kind of arrogant character was also quite cute. Princess syndrome, it was understandable, however, now Xiao Chen was very clear about his own position. He was no longer the young master of the Xiao family. The relationship with Cheng Menjing was only that of a master and servant. Xiao Chen wouldn't have any improper thoughts. He didn't want to provoke old Master Cheng before he figured out the behind-the-scenes manipulator. The old man was still immersed in the pain of losing his son. Although Xiao Chen was somewhat wronged, it was also understandable. Who could calm down when their son died? After Missy finished eating the instant noodles, she glanced at Xiao Chen and said, "I'm going upstairs. I'm going to bed. You rest by yourself." Hee, okay. Xiao Chen knew that Cheng Menjing probably remembered what happened last night, but Xiao Chen was smart and didn't mention it. If it was in the past, when he was still Cheng Menjing's fiancé, then Xiao Chen didn't mind being more ambiguous with Cheng Menjing. But now, it was just asking for trouble. After Xiao Chen cleaned Missy's lunchbox, he randomly chose a room downstairs and put his clothes into the wardrobe. Because he didn't go home last night, Xiao Chen didn't have time to unpack his luggage. Of course, the room that Xiao Chen chose was a room that was relatively close to the entrance of the villa. If there was any movement at the entrance of the villa, Xiao Chen would be able to notice it immediately. After all, Xiao Chen's divine sense and mental power were now incomparable to others. After tidying up everything, Xiao Chen sat cross-legged on the bed. He started the mantra of Heaven's Fortune Battle Art and began a new night of cultivation. In the ward of the First People's Hospital of Songning City, Lu Jinming and Skinny Monkey sat opposite Ma Gangman's bed, anxiously waiting for Lei Dianfeng's news. Suddenly, an urgent phone rang. Lu Jinming quickly picked up the phone. "Teacher Lei. Young Master Ming, bad news, Vicious Wolf is dead." Lei Dianfeng's voice was a little anxious. "I just received news that Vicious Wolf died in a small alley." "What? Vicious Wolf is dead? How is it possible? Didn't he go to kill Xiao Chen? Is Xiao Chen a master?" After hearing the news, Lu Jinming was shocked. He couldn't figure out how Vicious Wolf died. How could a warrior with Inner Force Stage 3 not be able to deal with an ordinary person with less than Inner Force Stage 1? It wasn't Xiao Chen who killed Vicious Wolf. The identity of the person who killed Vicious Wolf is unknown, but it seems that his strength is similar to Vicious Wolf. Because there are two bodies at the scene, it seems that the two people died together. The traces of fighting at the scene are completely consistent with the injuries of the two people. Lei Dianfeng said. After all, although Xiao Chen's last blow was a fatal blow, because Xiao Chen only punched, these people were prejudiced and naturally ignored the existence of Xiao Chen. Who's so nosy? Is there a master around Xiao Chen? Lu Jinming frowned. One should know that Vicious Wolf's strength was not weak, and the person who died together with Vicious Wolf was at least a master of Inner Force Stage 3. Moreover, Vicious Wolf was an underground boxer and a desperado. He dared to fight with his life. If one wanted to kill Vicious Wolf, it would be at least a master of Inner Force Stage 3. Chapter 41. It's impossible. If this person is Xiao Chen's bodyguard, there is no reason for Xiao Chen to leave his body and run away. Lei Dianfeng shook his head. At present, gang leader Lu has blocked the news and is secretly investigating the identity of the black-shirted man who died together. However, according to our speculation, the most likely reason is that this black-shirted man saw Vicious Wolf and wanted to get a reward, so he made a move. You know, Vicious Wolf is a fugitive, and the bounty is not low. If I didn't follow young Master Ming to eat and drink well, I would even be tempted. Oh. If these two people died together, then their strength is obviously not much different. This black-shirted man still dared to make a move? Lu Jinming was a little puzzled. People die for wealth, and birds die for food. The strength of this black-shirted man is definitely higher than Vicious Wolf, but don't forget, how rich is Vicious Wolf's combat experience. Even if the black-shirt man's strength is high, Vicious Wolf wins in terms of combat experience. It is still possible for both of them to die together. Lei Dianfeng said, as for the black-shirt man's true strength, we have to wait for the consecrator in the gang to personally check it. After a martial artist died, in a short period of time, those with superior strength could still judge the strength of the deceased from the aura left on their bodies, but Lei Dianfeng obviously didn't have this ability. In the entire Lu family gang, only the consecrator had this ability. How can I be so unlucky? Lu Zhenming was really speechless. It wasn't easy to find a desperado to kill Xiao Chen, but he was killed in the end. Moreover, he died without knowing why. This made him very depressed. However, he couldn't make a move on Xiao Chen in the short term. On the one hand, it was not easy to find a desperado. On the other hand, if he let the Lu family help his people, then it would definitely leave a handle for Zheng Xiaokuan. The biggest taboo in the underworld was to not keep one's word. The way to resolve disputes in the underworld was either to fight to the death, or to talk about numbers, apologize, or draw a line and have a competition. If after talking about numbers, there was still a need to settle accounts later, then who would choose to talk about numbers in the future? Let's just fight to the death. This was obviously not in line with the interests of the underworld. After all, the current underworld also prioritized interests, not just fighting. Lu Zhenming did not dare to set a precedent. Just as Lu Zhenming was feeling depressed, the young man from the afternoon was also quietly waiting for news in an RV. However, when he heard that the man in black was killed by a desperado, he was so shocked that he didn't know what to say. What did you say? Did our people perish together with that fugitive called Vicious Wolf? The youth stared at the person who reported the news and asked incredulously. Young master, in the Lu family gang, the spy we bribed immediately sent back the news. That fugitive was found by the Lu family gang. A person who looked like a butler said. Lu family gang? They found a fugitive and killed my men? Why? The youth frowned. He had no enmity with the Lu family gang. The Lu family gang's spy was just to inquire about information, but he didn't want to use anything. I don't know about this. After all, why did the Lu family gang hire a fugitive? Why did they hire this fugitive? Not to mention that the status of the few spies we buried in the Lu family gang isn't high. Even if they had a high status, they might not know. I just heard that they hired Vicious Wolf to do something for the Lu family gang's young master, Lu Zhenming, said the butler. Do something for Lu Zhenming? Doing something for Lu Zhenming. What does it have to do with my people? He killed my people. Isn't there something wrong with him? Did I provoke him? The youth was so angry that his face was livid. Could it be that he was standing up for Xiao Chen? Or was it a coincidence? I don't know about this. The butler shook his head. Investigate Lu Zhenming for me. Investigate his relationship with Xiao Chen at school. The youth said with a gloomy face. Yes, young master. The butler nodded. Tonight was destined to be a sleepless night. Lu Zhenming, who was in the hospital, quickly received the news that the strength of the black-shirt man was a peak third-stage inner-strength martial artist. In this way, Lei Dianfeng's explanation could be explained. Generally speaking, a martial artist at the peak third-stage inner-strength martial artist was still very confident in defeating a martial artist who had just advanced to the third-stage inner-strength. However, the black-shirt man probably didn't expect to encounter a fighting master like Vicious Wolf. How could a martial artist who fought in the underground boxing be an ordinary martial artist? They all had a lot of actual combat experience. It was just that the Lu family would never dream that the black-shirt man's actual combat experience was not weak. The reason why he also died on the spot was not because of Vicious Wolf, but because of Xiao Chen. Teacher Lei, can we find another desperado? If Xiao Chen didn't die, Lu Zhenming really couldn't vent the anger in his heart. When he thought of the seafood meal that Xiao Chen cheated away, and then saw Mengmen's half-dead appearance, Lu Zhenming wanted to kill Xiao Chen. Young Master Ming, this is basically impossible, at least not in the short term. Teacher Lei said, although this matter was covered up by our Lu family gang, now that Vicious Wolf is dead, the people in our Lu family gang know that Vicious Wolf died while doing something for our Lu family gang. Although everyone doesn't know what Vicious Wolf is doing, if another desperado comes, it will be different. So, if Vicious Wolf is fine and leaves after killing people, probably no one will notice. However, if Xiao Chen is killed by a desperado, and Xiao Chen is killed, it is hard to guarantee that no one will connect it to the previous matter. Our Lu family gang is not monolithic. There must be spies from other gangs or families in it. They will not let go of any opportunity to attack us. Okay, I got it. Lu Zhenming knew that it couldn't be done, so he didn't force it, but he was a little depressed. Brother Ming, don't get angry. I'm fine. We will take revenge on ourselves in the future. Xiao Chen, let him be free for a while. Mengmen saw Lu Zhenming's depression, so he comforted him. Mengmen, you are right. We will think of a way in the future. Lu Zhenming nodded and had to give up the idea of dealing with Xiao Chen for the time being. He planned to think about it after a while. By the way, you two help me think about it. How should I pursue Cheng Menjing? Things are different now. There's the annoying Jean Bebe. With her around, I can't carry out my skills at all. The girl's head is full of tricks and tricks. I'll be fooled if I'm not careful. Brother Ming, I think there are only a few ways to pick up girls. Since Cheng Menjing is the eldest daughter of the Cheng family, it is impossible to use money to attack her. The remaining ways are either to move her with romance or to be a hero to save her. Beauties all like romance and heroes. The slim monkey-like guy was rather insightful. Since he was known as Lu Zhenming's advisor, he was quite smart when it came to offering ideas. Romance. Hero to save the beauty. Lu Zhenming pondered on the slim monkey-like guy's words and felt that they did make sense. Indeed, there were only two ways to win a girl's heart. As for romance, with Jean Bebe by Cheng Menjing's side, Lu Zhenming could not be romantic even if he wanted to. Whatever he did, Jean Bebe would misinterpret it. Therefore, Lu Zhenming thought for a moment and decided to start with the hero to save the beauty. Tell me, how can I be a hero to save the beauty? Brother Ming, to be a hero to save the beauty, the slim monkey-like guy said. When Cheng Menjing is in danger, you must stand up and take care of the danger so that you can win Cheng Menjing's favor. For example, Cheng Menjing is robbed. Robbed? Lu Zhenming's eyes suddenly shone. Let's do it this way. Find two people on our side and pretend to be robbers. Then, they will rob Cheng Menjing. Then, I will show up. Why don't we call Mr. Lei and ask him to send two people here, the slim monkey-like guy suggested. This won't do. Just now, Teacher Lei said that the Lu family gang isn't as united as a piece of iron. If someone leaks it and the Cheng family finds out, not only will Cheng Menjing not like me, she will hate me. Lu Zhenming waved his hand and said, if Steelgate wasn't injured, you and Steelgate could pretend to be robbers, but we're still missing one person. One robber isn't shocking enough. You're too skinny and don't look like a robber. Brother Ming, although I am injured, my younger brother, Ma Gangmen, is not inferior to me in size. You have seen him before. It is possible for him to be a robber. Ma Gangmen thought about it and said, it's just that my younger brother's head was smashed by a brick when he was young. He is not very smart. I have to tell him in detail what to do. Otherwise, it will not be good if he is stunned. Ma Gangmen? Lu Zhenming nodded. He remembered Ma Gangmen's younger brother's tower-like figure. Ma Gangmen was not very smart. He dropped out of school early and stayed at home. Now, he helped Ma Gangmen's father run a small casino. Because of Lu Zhenming's support, the small casino's business was still very good. Ma Gangmen acted as a thug in the casino. In terms of physical strength, Ma Gangmen was stronger than Ma Gangmen, so it was a good choice to let him pretend to be a robber. Although the guy looked dumb, at least he was on their side, so Lu Zhenming agreed. Okay, slim monkey-like guy, you and Gangmen plan. I will go back first. Okay, brother Ming. Thin monkey-like guy nodded. After Lu Zhenming left, Ma Gangmen called Ma Gangmen over. The three of them discussed the plan to save the beauty. Although Ma Gangmen was not good at acting, he also knew that the Ma family's casino was thriving because of Lu Zhenming. Otherwise, how could you open a casino without some strength? This was the industry that the gangs valued the most. How could they let others run it? However, because Ma Gangmen was Lu Zhenming's lackey, the Lu family gang did not make things difficult for the Ma family. Instead, when the Ma family's casino was in trouble, they rushed over immediately. Therefore, Ma Gangmen was very grateful. He was very concerned about Lu Zhenming's matters. Chapter 42. Brother, don't worry. I will do whatever Brother Ming tells me to do. If he tells me to go east, I will definitely not go west. Ma Gangmen said. It's useless to say these things. When the time comes, acting is better than anything else. Ma Gangmen reminded. One night's time was neither short nor long. Under Xiao Chen's diligent cultivation, the energy in his body was constantly circulating in his meridians, and it became more and more vigorous. Last night, Xiao Chen had already touched the edge of the second level of the refinement stage. Today, Xiao Chen planned to break through in one fell swoop. Xiao Chen's essence circulated in circles. As his essence kept increasing, he could sense that the moment was not far away. Sure enough, the energy circulating in Xiao Chen's body suddenly stopped, and then it quickly rushed to his dantian. In an instant, all the energy continuously poured into Xiao Chen's dantian. Xiao Chen only felt that his dantian was about to explode. The energy in his dantian was constantly being compressed. This feeling was exactly the same as when Xiao Chen went from an ordinary person to a first level of the refinement stage cultivator. Therefore, although Xiao Chen was in pain, he was not afraid. This was because Xiao Chen knew that he was about to break through. Boom! Not long after, Xiao Chen's body shook, and in his body, it seemed that something had been broken. There was a jolting pain, and there was a kind of pleasure of being released in an instant. I broke through. Phew! Xiao Chen let out a long sigh of relief. Second level of the refinement stage? In other words, now I have the strength equivalent to the second level of the inner force? Stretching out his hands in disbelief, Xiao Chen looked at his hands that had not changed at all. He felt that it was unreal. The strength that he had dreamed of since he was a child was now in his possession. In 3 days, he went from an ordinary person to a second level of the refinement stage, which was equivalent to a second level of the inner force cultivator. If he had not experienced it himself, Xiao Chen would have thought that he was dreaming. Even if he was a genius, it was impossible to go from an ordinary person to a second level of the inner force cultivator in 3 days, but now Xiao Chen had done it. You broke through? Elder Heaven Ancestor's voice also sounded in Xiao Chen's ears. Xiao Chen was already accustomed to the Elder Heaven Ancestor's mysterious appearance. I broke through. Elder Heaven Ancestor, isn't the speed of my breakthrough a bit too fast? Xiao Chen was not an idiot. This kind of leveling speed could be said to be unprecedented, but Xiao Chen just happened to be able to do it. Hopefully, there won't be any repercussions. It is indeed a bit fast, but I still don't know what is going on. Elder Heaven Ancestor's voice was a bit doubtful. In theory, the speed of your breakthrough is too fast. Even the geniuses I have seen before, without the help of treasures, it is impossible to advance to the second level of the refinement stage in 3 days. Oh? In other words, with the help of treasures, it is possible to advance? Xiao Chen asked. That is possible, but the problem is that you have nothing in your hands. How did you advance? Elder Heaven Ancestor's voice was very strange. The environment around you is also not a paradise. The spiritual chi of heaven and earth is so thin, but you can still advance so fast. It is really incredible. Forget it, since you can't understand it, then there is no need for me to think about it. At least for the time being, there is no adverse situation. Even if there is, at least it is better than no strength. If I didn't have strength, I am afraid I would have died yesterday. Xiao Chen was open-minded. Having strength was much better than not having strength. Even if there might be a side effect, Xiao Chen would not refuse. After all, the side effect was a problem for the future. If he didn't have strength now, he would probably be dead. That is true. Elder Heaven Ancestor's voice was solemn. Xiao Chen, you are now a second-level refinement stage cultivator. From the second level, you will have to temper your body. To put it bluntly, it is to lay the foundation for the future. Although there is no effect in a short period of time, I have to remind you that you still have to complete the first step before advancing to the third level. Otherwise, it will have a great impact on your future. Xiao Chen listened to Elder Heaven Ancestor's solemn words. He did not dare to be negligent and quickly asked, "Good. How should I temper my body?" Body tempering requires some herbs. After you buy them, decoct them according to the method I told you. Then soak your body in it for 5 days. Otherwise. Elder Heaven Ancestor did not continue, but Xiao Chen could still understand. Otherwise, his future progress would be very limited. Alright, tell me. I'll write it down and go by it today, Xiao Chen quickly replied. Elder Heaven Ancestor did not say anything. He only transmitted the information to Xiao Chen's mind. The names and numbers of the herbs became clear to Xiao Chen. Immediately, Xiao Chen found a piece of white paper and wrote down the herbs and the numbers. After doing all this, Xiao Chen said, "By the way, Elder Heaven Ancestor, didn't you say that cultivators have more special abilities than warriors? I am now a second-level chi refining stage cultivator. What kind of special abilities do I have? Haven't I already transmitted the abilities of the first few levels of chi refining stage to you? You can go and take a look." Elder Heaven Ancestor suddenly reminded him, "However, I advise you to only look at the second level. As for the third and fourth levels, wait until you have reached that level. Otherwise, there will be benefits that will tempt you. It will affect your mind and it will be detrimental to your future cultivation path." "I understand." Xiao Chen nodded and began to flip through the special abilities of the second-level chi refining stage in his mind. With one look, he could not help but feel a little disappointed. Because the special ability of the second-level chi refining stage was to enhance the 6 senses: vision, hearing, nose, tongue, body, and consciousness. The first 5 senses did not seem to be of much use to Xiao Chen. After all, as a cultivator, his divine sense and mental energy were already very huge. His perception was rather strong. Even if he increased it, it would only be a little stronger than the original foundation. The last one, consciousness, was quite important. It could distinguish between people who obviously had bad or good intentions towards him. Of course, this premise was also based on the level of strength. Although Xiao Chen did not know how much higher the level of strength was, it was certainly not too high. At most, it would be 1 or 2 levels higher than him. Moreover, the distinction between bad and good intentions was not clear, which made Xiao Chen very depressed. "Elder Heaven Ancestor, this seems to be the same as not getting any benefits, right?" Xiao Chen asked somewhat unwillingly. "Why not? This enhancement of the 6 senses is something that many people can't get even if they want it." Elder Heaven Ancestor said resentfully, "Your eyesight and hearing are better than others. When in battle, the advantage is quite obvious, especially when someone sneaks up on you. You can hear the movement and react in advance. Nose and tongue also have great benefits. If you smell or eat something abnormal, you can detect it immediately and not be poisoned. As for body, it can enhance your sense of touch, which is very helpful for future alchemy. You can feel the state of the medicinal herbs in the medicinal cauldron. These benefits are innumerable. Don't just focus on what is in front of you. After listening to Elder Heaven Ancestor's explanation, Xiaochen suddenly felt a little embarrassed. It seems like what you said is very powerful. It is very powerful. Elder Heaven Ancestor said. You ask those martial artists, which one doesn't want to hear and see? You are not a good thing. Well, my expectations are a little too high. Xiaochen smiled bitterly. When I go to school, I will pass by the pharmacy. I will go and buy the body-tempering medicine first. Now, Xiaochen had a huge sum of 10,000 yuan. It was more than enough to buy some medicinal herbs. In the morning, because Xiaochen had just broken through, he had nothing to do. So, he got up early and prepared to go to the kitchen to boil water for breakfast. However, he heard movement outside the living room window. Xiaochen climbed up the window and looked. It turned out that Yi Xiaoye was watering her flowers and plants. This made Xiaochen somewhat surprised. Yi Xiaoye got up so early just to water her flowers and plants? However, Xiaochen was not a nosy person. After looking at it, he went to the kitchen. When Xiaochen finished boiling the water, it was almost time. Cheng Menjing yawned and walked down the stairs, but her eyes were full of resentment. Xiaochen was very puzzled. Who provoked Miss Cheng? Is it the person in my dream? Cheng Menjing saw Xiaochen in the kitchen, so she asked, Where is Yi Xiaoye? She is outside playing with the flowers and plants. Why are you looking for her? Xiaochen asked curiously. To settle the bill. Cheng Menjing turned and walked out of the door. She opened the door of the villa and saw Yi Xiaoye watering her flowers and plants. Her leisurely look made Cheng Menjing even angrier. Yi Xiaoye? Yi Xiaoye looked at Cheng Menjing, who had an unfriendly expression on her face. You have 1 day to pour out 4/5 of the flower bed. Otherwise, I will pull out your flowers and plants. Cheng Menjing pointed to the flowers and plants in the flower bed. You are too much, right? They are all planted in. If you pull them out, they will die. Yi Xiaoye frowned. Besides, I only took up half. Isn't the other half enough for what you want to plant? If you want to keep your flowers and plants, don't make a racket in the house at night. This was Cheng Menjing's purpose. Pulling out the flowers and plants was just a threat. At night? Yi Xiaoye was slightly stunned. She finally understood why Cheng Menjing was so angry. Looking at Cheng Menjing's red eyes, it was obvious that she didn't sleep well. Yi Xiaoye knew that she was in the wrong. She was afraid that Cheng Menjing would really go crazy and pull out her flowers and plants, so she had to say, I won't do it in the future. Humph. Cheng Menjing turned and returned to the villa. Xiaochen just finished making instant noodles, so the miss sat at the dining table and began to enjoy the delicious instant noodles. The anger in her heart also dissipated a lot. Chapter 43. Last night, Cheng Menjing didn't know what Yi Xiaoye was doing, but she didn't fall asleep until 12 a.m. She didn't know what Yi Xiaoye was doing. After breakfast, Jean Beibei's car arrived and parked at the gate of the villa. Cheng Menjing threw 100 yuan to Xiaochen and got on Jean Beibei's beetle. After Cheng Menjing left, Yi Xiaoye happened to come in for breakfast. Seeing that Xiaochen took 100 yuan, Yi Xiaoye couldn't help but show a disdainful look. Perhaps, she felt that Xiaochen was living under someone else's roof and had no dignity. However, how could Yi Xiaoye know Xiaochen's difficulties? Shrugging, Xiaochen didn't take it seriously and followed her out of the villa. Yesterday, when Xiaochen went to the convenience store, he saw a relatively large pharmacy that also sold medicinal ingredients. It seemed that the scale was not small, so Xiaochen decided to buy the medicinal ingredients that Elder Sky mentioned. "Sir, what can I do for you?" As soon as Xiaochen pushed the door and walked into the pharmacy, a melodious voice like that of an oriole in the morning rang. Xiaochen raised his head and saw a girl in a white coat looking at him with a smile. The girl was about 18 or 19 years old. She didn't have any makeup on her face and had a clean smile, which made Xiaochen feel refreshed. This girl was like a sister next door, which reminded Xiaochen of Kerlin. But in comparison, the young girl was graceful and unrestrained, while Lin Kuer was extremely shy. Seeing that Xiaochen was staring at her face, the girl couldn't help but blush. However, seeing that Xiaochen was wearing a school uniform and didn't look like a hooligan, she felt that she might have misunderstood Xiaochen. "Is there something on my face?" the girl asked uncertainly. "No." Xiaochen shook his head and also realized that he was a bit rude, which made him feel ashamed. Even though Xiaochen had seen too many beauties, he couldn't help but admit at this moment that the pure beauty of this young girl was very unique. It was like a clear spring, although clear, it was sweet to taste. "I'm sorry, everyone loves beauty. I thought I was looking at a goddess's photo on the computer." Xiaochen's words made the girl a bit dumbfounded. He didn't have to be so frank, right? However, because of Xiaochen's frankness, the girl didn't hate him. Instead, she felt that Xiaochen was quite sincere and interesting. Besides, Xiaochen was right. Everyone loved beauty. Who didn't like being complimented by others? It doesn't matter. I'm not a goddess. The girl was a bit embarrassed. It doesn't matter. I want to buy some medicinal herbs. Isn't there a master who specializes in dispensing medicine here? Xiaochen looked at the girl's appearance. She should be a salesperson here. She could sell some finished medicine, but this kind of thing was usually handled by someone in every pharmacy. I am. The girl was a bit unhappy with Xiaochen's belittling. She stretched out her hand and said, "Give me the prescription." Xiaochen was stunned, but he still gave the prescription that he copied to the girl. His heart was puzzled. This girl also knows how to dispense medicine. The girl took the prescription and looked at it. At first, she didn't think much of it. But as she read, her face suddenly became strange. Even the way she looked at Xiaochen changed. Xiaochen also felt the girl's eyes. He suddenly felt a bit nervous. What kind of eyes is this? Is there a problem with this prescription? Could it be a prescription for aphrodisiac? Otherwise, why would this girl have this kind of eyes? However, Elder Heaven Ancestor couldn't lie to himself. So, Xiaochen still asked, "What's wrong? Is there a problem with the prescription? Are you sure you want this prescription? And you want 5? The girl looked up and down at Xiaochen. It made Xiaochen have a kind of creepy feeling. Is there something wrong with it? Xiaochen asked tentatively. Do you know how much this medicinal herb costs? Anne. You actually want 5? The girl really couldn't figure out what Xiaochen wanted to do. Moreover, I can't understand your prescription at all. What is the use of these medicinal herbs when combined together? Are you sure you want it? How much? Xiaochen also realized the seriousness of the problem. Looking at the girl's tone and expression, this medicinal herb is probably expensive. But I'm sure I need it. According to the shop's price, this medicinal herb would cost at least 20,000. 5 would be 100,000. The girl said, Are you sure you didn't randomly see a prescription somewhere? Of course, I'm not doubting you. It's for your own good. Xiaochen looked at the girl's serious expression. He was a little helpless. He didn't think that the medicinal herbs would be so expensive. One medicinal herb costs 20,000. 5 medicinal herbs would cost 100,000. It seems that the 10,000 in his hand is simply not enough to do anything. What should I do? Borrow money from Miss? If he said it clearly, Miss would definitely lend it to him. But as for cultivation, Xiaofan really didn't want to say it. Even if he had the strength, he couldn't say it for the time being. It wasn't that he didn't trust Miss, but he was afraid that Miss didn't have a deep social experience. If she revealed a flaw, then it wouldn't be worth it. Yen, so early. Is there a customer? An old voice sounded. As the voice sounded, an old man wearing reading glasses, a white beard, and a tang suit walked out from the back of the shop. Grandpa, this customer wants to get medicine, but his prescription. Hong Yen handed the prescription to the old man who had just walked out. I don't understand it, and the medicinal herbs inside are very expensive. Oh, let me see. The old man took the prescription and stroked his beard. He sat on a chair and carefully looked at Xiaofan's prescription. Although the old man didn't show any expression on his face, a storm was brewing in his heart. However, after he finished reading it, he looked at Xiaofan without batting an eyelid. Young lad, where did you copy this prescription from? Do you know the use of it? Xiaofan's heart skipped a beat. He was an astute person. The old man did not say that the herbs in this prescription were expensive and useless like Hong Yen. Instead, he asked about the origins and uses of the prescription. Could it be that this old man could understand it? But that shouldn't be the case. This is a prescription that cultivators use to temper their bodies. How could this old man understand it? However, Xiaofan didn't dare to expose it. He just said, I can't reveal the origin of this prescription, and it's hard to say what it does. Xiaofan simply didn't make up a lie. With the old man's appearance, if he could understand it, then he understood it. If he couldn't, then he understood it. Xiaofan didn't need to lie. A lie could be seen through at a glance. Do you understand the value of this prescription? Asked the old man. Just now, Miss Hong said that it costs 20,000 per pair, and 5 pairs require 100,000, said Xiaofan. Yen, did you add this bitter fruit into the calculation? Asked the old man with a smile. Grandpa, I've never heard of bitter fruit, and the shop doesn't have it, so I didn't calculate it. Hong Yen shook her head and was a little embarrassed. Grandpa, is this medicine expensive? It's a small matter if it's expensive. The bitter fruit is hard to find. The old man said with a smile, if it weren't for an old friend of mine asking me to help collect it, I wouldn't have it, but I happen to have some left over. When Xiaofan heard it, he suddenly showed a bitter face. The previous medicine was already expensive enough. Now that a bitter fruit was added, it seemed that it was even more valuable than a city. Xiaofan could only ask weakly, Grandpa, how much does this medicine cost? If you can tell me the origin and use of this prescription, I can give you 5 pairs for free. The old man looked at Xiaofan with a smile. This. Xiaofan was shocked. Although the temptation was in front of him, Xiaofan wasn't a person who only cared about immediate benefits. He just hesitated for a moment and shook his head decisively. Grandpa, I appreciate your kindness, but I really can't say it. Then there's no other way. Yen has already said that this medicine costs 20,000 without the bitter fruit. With the bitter fruit, it's at least 50,000. When the old man said this, he saw Xiaofan's bitter face. He smiled slightly, changed the topic, and continued, however, I can give you a discount this time. 10,000 yuan per pair. Really? Xiaofan couldn't believe his ears. Grandpa, are you kidding? I don't need to pay anything. No need, 10,000 yuan. The old man shook his head. Xiaofan took a deep breath and solemnly took out an envelope from his shirt pocket. Although he was reluctant to part with it, this was the only property he had on him. However, the old man's 10,000 yuan was already a great discount. Xiaofan wasn't afraid that the old man would lie to him. After all, Hong Yan had said before that this medicine cost 20,000 yuan without the bitter fruit. The old man only took 10,000 yuan. Obviously, it was a huge discount. Thank you, Grandpa. I will earn money as soon as possible to buy the remaining 4 pairs. This is all I have today. I can only buy 1 pair. Although Xiaochen wondered why the old man would give him a discount, Xiaochen was sure that it must be because of his own prescription. This old man was likely to see something in it, but Xiaochen wasn't sure what he saw. The old man wasn't polite. He accepted Xiaochen's 10,000 yuan, and then said to Hong Yan, Yen, you take care of the other medicinal materials on this prescription. I will go get the bitter fruit. Okay, Grandpa. At this moment, Hong Yan looked at Xiaochen with an even stranger gaze. Although she didn't ask, her grandpa didn't say anything after seeing the prescription. He only asked about its origin. Obviously, this prescription wasn't a useless prescription in her eyes. Moreover, her grandpa actually gave Xiaochen a big discount, which made Hong Yan feel strange. The price of her family's pharmacy wasn't expensive. On the contrary, it was very cheap. Hong Yan's evaluation of Xiaochen was already based on the lowest price, but her grandpa actually gave him a 20% discount, which made Hong Yan somewhat puzzled. Chapter 44. The old man came out just as he grabbed the herbs. He placed a small red fruit into the herbs. However, this small red fruit made Xiaochen's eyes narrow. His heart was in turmoil. This was because he was very familiar with this small fruit. He had just seen it yesterday. This small fruit was the fruit that Yi Xiaoya kept in the fridge. Yesterday, Xiaochen was a little curious about what it was. Why did Yi Xiaoya put a fruit in the medicine? Today, he found out that it was called the bitter fruit. TSK, this Yi Xiaoya is really rich. She can even afford such expensive herbs. I wonder what the medicinal soup she brewed is for. Grandpa, what kind of medicine is this bitter fruit usually used for? Xiaochen asked calmly. I don't use it much. I only use it for some special prescriptions. However, if you don't tell me, I won't tell you either. The old man smiled at Xiaochen, as if saying, You want to know? You want to know? I won't tell you. Xiaochen was a little speechless. He didn't expect this old man to be so vengeful. However, there was nothing he could do. He couldn't expose his secret just because of his curiosity, right? Therefore, Xiaochen didn't say anything more. He picked up the wrapped herbs and quickly walked out of the pharmacy. After Xiaochen left, Hong Yan turned to look at the old man. Grandpa Chen, what is this bitter fruit? Why have I never heard of it? Miss Yan, because this bitter fruit is not very common and the person who bought the medicine doesn't need it, I didn't put it out. The old man actually changed the way he addressed Hong Yan. If Xiaochen was present, he would be extremely surprised. It turned out that this old man and Hong Yan weren't actually grandfather and granddaughter. The old man's surname was Chen, and Hong Yan's surname was Hong. Oh. Then the person who bought it just now. Hong Yan was a little confused. Grandpa Chen, what is the use of this bitter fruit? I'm not sure about the specific use. Perhaps this thing is originally not something that people of my level can come into contact with. Grandpa Chen said with a bitter smile. Grandpa Chen, so you were lying to him before? Hong Yan looked at the old man strangely. Previously, the old man wanted to get information from Xiaochen, but he didn't expect that Grandpa Chen didn't know about the use of the bitter fruit. I can't say that I'm lying. At least I know a few prescriptions that require bitter fruits. It's just that I don't know the specific uses of these prescriptions. Grandpa Chen said, I've seen some of the herbs in the prescription that the young man brought before in other prescriptions. Because I don't know the use of this prescription, I want to ask about it. I see. Hong Yan nodded. Grandpa Chen is really a profiteer. Huh, Miss Yen, in our line of work, profit comes first. Grandpa Chen laughed. Then why did Grandpa Chen give him a discount? Hong Yen found it a little unbelievable. It can be considered an investment, Grandpa Chen said. Hong Yen nodded as she didn't really understand. Xiao Chen was carrying a bag of priceless medicine. The pocket on his body was deflated. The remaining 200 yuan was given by Miss Yen. Xiao Chen could only be frugal with this money. Originally, Xiao Chen wanted to go to the electronics store to buy an electric clay pot for decocting medicine. However, when he saw the price of 299 yuan, Xiao Chen's mouth twitched. He didn't have enough money to buy it. He could only go back and discuss with Yi Xiaoya if he could borrow her electric clay pot for himself. Elder Heaven Ancestor, isn't the prescription you gave me a bit too expensive? Xiao Chen said with a bitter smile. Who knows what the prices are like now? Moreover, I rarely buy things in the secular world. Elder Heaven Ancestor didn't expect that the medicine he listed would cost so much money. It made Xiao Chen so embarrassed. Forget it, it seems that I have to find a way to earn some money. I just bought one set and I'm already broke. There's still a long way to go before I can buy 5 sets. Xiao Chen sighed. To be honest, Xiao Chen didn't have any concept of money in the past. But now, a penny really stumped a hero. It wasn't that Xiao Chen didn't think about borrowing money from Zhu Yingxiong, but Xiao Chen knew that Zhu Yingxiong didn't usually have a lot of pocket money. Although if Xiao Chen asked, Zhu Yingxiong would definitely help Xiao Chen, but Zhu Yingxiong would definitely ask Xiao Chen what he needed the money for. At that time, Xiao Chen didn't want to lie to his good brother, so he could only give up for the time being. Xiao Chen, this isn't a problem of 5 sets. These 5 sets are only for those who have reached the 3rd level of qi refining stage. There will be more after that, and the medicine will be even rarer, so I'm afraid the price will be even more expensive, Elder Heaven Ancestor said. The most important thing is whether you can buy them or not. Really? Xiao Chen was stunned, and then smiled bitterly. It seemed that his road to poverty had just begun. This made Xiao Chen feel that he should do something. He could borrow money from Zhu Yingxiong once, but he couldn't borrow money endlessly, right? Not to mention that Zhu Yingxiong didn't have that much. Even if Zhu Yingxiong didn't ask once, twice, or 3 times, how could he not ask? With a depressed face, Xiao Chen walked into the classroom. Before buying the medicine, it took some time, so Xiao Chen almost stepped into the classroom when the class bell rang. Originally, when Lu Zhenming saw that Xiao Chen didn't come today, he was quite surprised. Then he guessed excitedly, did Vicious Wolf kill Xiao Chen first, and then he was killed by someone, courageously, ? Thinking about it, it was not impossible. As for the fact that Xiao Chen's body was not found, perhaps Vicious Wolf had already disposed of the body, so it was impossible to find it in a short time. But now Xiao Chen appeared in the classroom intact, which made Lu Zhenming's original excitement suddenly feel like being poured with cold water. Damn, this guy is actually fine. Lu Zhenming murmured with a gloomy face. It seems that this guy is lucky. Brother Ming, we can only bear with this matter for now. Skinny Monkey also didn't have any good ideas. After all, he had already announced that the matter of Monggang's sect was over. It was impossible to find trouble with Xiao Chen in a short time. Forget it. Let's not study this bumpkin anymore. How's the plan of saving the damsel in distress? Lu Zhenming asked. I've talked to Monggang's sect, and he also said that he will cooperate with us. It's just that the guy is too stupid, and I'm afraid that he will be in a daze. But with my help, there shouldn't be any big problem, Skinny Monkey said. The most important problem now is that we don't have a chance. No chance? What chance? Lu Zhenming was dumbfounded. Brother Ming, it's a chance to rob. Cheng Menjing goes to and from school with Jean Beibei every day, and she's driving. How can we rob her? If we try to stop a car, Jean Beibei, that tigress, might really run us over. Skinny Monkey didn't dare to stop Jean Bei's car. He hadn't lived long enough. Lu Zhenming nodded. He didn't blame Skinny Monkey for being timid, but Jean Bei really dared to do that. If she died, then so be it. She couldn't even find a place to reason with her. The robber died because of a car crash, and you still want to reason with her? If you go to the Jean family, not only will you be admitting that the robber was hired by Lu Zhenming, but Old Master Jean might not be reasonable either. With Old Master Jin's personality, even if he hacked Lu Zhenming to death, his death would be in vain. Let's find a chance. Don't be hasty. Lu Zhenming pondered for a moment and said, I don't believe that Jean Bei will have a chance if she follows Cheng Menjing every day. Ask Monggang Sek to be ready. She will be here whenever I call her. Okay, Brother Ming. Skinny Monkey nodded. When Cheng Menjing saw that Xiaofan walked into the classroom very late again, a hint of suspicion flashed in her eyes. Where did this guy go this time? Did he go to find Tang Tang again? But Tang Tang had been here for a long time. That was impossible. Cousin Menjing, are you thinking of my brother-in-law? Jean Bei asked while eating a lollipop. Yeah, why do you think he came so late? Cheng Menjing said subconsciously, but after saying it, she quickly changed her words. Who would miss him? Come or not? Sister Menjing, you don't mean what you say. Jean Bei said with a smile, don't hit me. I understand. Cheng Menjing raised her hand and put it down helplessly. She glared at Jean Bei and said, eat your lollipop. Why did he come so late? Tang Tang was also curious. It was impossible for Xiao Chen to get up late. Cheng Menjing came earlier than her. It was impossible for Xiao Chen not to get up. I walked here, Xiao Chen said with a bitter smile. Walked here? Are you serious? You don't have money? Tang Tang immediately figured out the reason. You can't be so poor just because you treated us to a buffet yesterday, can you? You don't even have money to take the bus? It's not that bad. I do have money, but I just want to save some money. Xiao Chen said, by the way, Tang Tang, do you have any way to make money? You want to make money? Tang Tang was slightly stunned. She did not expect Xiao Chen to be short of money so soon. But after thinking for a while, she said in a low voice, you don't need much money for 3 meals a day, do you? You'd better stop working and focus on your studies. A young master like you is not the kind to suffer. I can take care of breakfast and lunch for you. You can't starve yourself for dinner with Cheng Menjing, can you? Xiao Chen took out the medicine bag from his pocket and waved it in front of Tang Tang. He told a white lie, I've been weak since I was a child and can't practice internal force. You know that, don't you? I have to take a lot of medicine every month, and this is a big start. If I don't make money, I'm afraid I can't afford it at all. Tang Tang suddenly realized that Xiao Chen was weak and sick since he was a child was not a secret, so she was not surprised. I see. You don't need much money to buy medicine, do you? 1,000 yuan should be enough, right? I gritted my teeth and saved a little money, and then I came out. Although Tang Tang said that she didn't care, she was calculating in her heart. From tomorrow on, she had to get up earlier and prepare more ingredients for soybean milk and deep-fried dough sticks. Otherwise, she wouldn't have much money left after deducting the rent and expenses. Xiao Chen's medical fee of 1,000 yuan really put her in a tight spot. Chapter 45. It doesn't matter. I'm not a young master. What I'm doing now is the work of a servant. Don't worry. I'm not as delicate as you think. Xiao Chen shook his head and smiled. Is there really no problem? Tang Tang just calculated that the profit from selling breakfast was not very big. After all, she couldn't set up a stall in the morning market all morning. Other people set up their stalls until 9 o'clock in the morning, but Tang Tang could only set up her stall until 7 o'clock and had to go to school. There were only 2 hours from 5 o'clock to 7 o'clock. No matter how busy Tang Tang was, she couldn't sell much. After all, her manpower was limited. Even if she prepared a lot of things, she couldn't sell them if she didn't have enough manpower. Therefore, under Xiao Chen's insistence, Tang Tang was also a little tempted. If Xiao Chen really came to help, not to mention that the income could be doubled, even if it was 1/3 more, Xiao Chen's 1,000 yuan would be easy. Of course not. Xiao Chen smiled and nodded. In fact, I've already thought it through. Otherwise, do you think I would be so happy every day as a servant of Miss Cheng? And with my original personality, Ma Gang men wouldn't be like this now. I'm afraid I would have to go to the hospital for 1.5 years. Well, there is a way to make money now, but it depends on whether you can bear hardships. Tang Tang looked at Xiao Chen with some doubts. What is it? Xiao Chen was not afraid of hardships. Wasn't it hard to exercise every night for more than 10 years? But Xiao Chen also endured it. Outsiders didn't know how hard Xiao Chen could bear hardships. That's it. Tang Tang said and took out a bag from the desk, which was filled with fried dough sticks and soy milk. This? Breakfast for me? Xiao Chen was slightly stunned. Yes, from tomorrow on, go to the morning market with me to sell breakfast. Tang Tang said, now I rely on this to make money. I get up at 4 o'clock every morning, go to the morning market at 5 o'clock, and come to school at 7 o'clock. How about it? It's hard enough, right? Can you hold on? 4 o'clock. Xiao Chen's face showed a trace of embarrassment. It wasn't that Xiao Chen couldn't get up at 4 o'clock. On the contrary, Xiao Chen cultivated every night and didn't sleep at all. What Xiao Chen cared about was time. There wasn't much time to cultivate at night. Since he had to wake up at 4 o'clock, Xiao Chen would have 2 hours less cultivation time than usual. But thinking about it, for the sake of earning money, it was worth it. But, how much money could he earn by selling breakfast? He probably wouldn't even earn 10,000 yuan a month, right? However, Xiao Chen had no other way to make money for the time being. He could only take it one step at a time. Although Xiao Chen was not a real playboy, he never thought about making money by himself. After all, the children of the aristocratic families thought about eating, drinking, and having fun every day, or how to cultivate internal strength. As for making money, the family business would be taken care of by the elders. It was not the time for them to think about it. To Xiao Chen's surprise, Tang Tang actually lived by selling breakfast. It seemed that Tang Tang's tuition and rent money came from her breakfast stall. Although he had been exercising every night for more than 10 years, when Xiao Chen knew that Tang Tang, who used to be a young lady, would sell soybean milk and fried dough sticks every day, he was really shocked. It turned out that he was not the only unfortunate one. Tang Tang was also. But she was very strong. It was hard for Xiao Chen to imagine that a girl would go to the morning market street to sell breakfast at 4 o'clock in the morning and come to school at 7 o'clock. How are you? Can't get up? Tang Tang looked at Xiao Chen and showed an expression of, I knew it. It's not that I can't get up, but I'm afraid that the young lady at home won't be happy if I leave so early. Xiao Chen shrugged and found an excuse for his hesitation just now. After all, I'm her manservant, right? I won't say anything if you work for her for free, but you're holding up your own money. You're simply a slave owner. Why don't you resign and we work alone? Tang Tang said indignantly after listening. Pfft. Xiao Chen couldn't help but laugh. Working alone? That's not very good, right? No matter what, it was Miss Cheng who helped me transfer here. I should also be grateful, right? Forget it. Are you going or not? Tang Tang thought that Xiao Chen still liked Cheng Menjiang. If Xiao Chen didn't like Cheng Menjiang, why did he work for her for free? In any case, Xiaochen was also a young master. When did he do such a thing? The only explanation was that Xiaochen was infatuated, so he was willing to be Cheng Menjing's manservant. Tang Tang didn't know about the past of Xiaochen's pursuit of Shen Jingxian and Kerlin, so she naturally misunderstood. So thinking of this, although Tang Tang felt that Xiaochen wasn't worth it, she didn't say anything more. I'll go. Xiaochen nodded. I'll go tomorrow. What do you need me to do? You don't have to do anything. I made the soybean milk at home. As for the fried dough sticks, I'll fry them. You learn a little. When you learn it, we'll cooperate. The faster we go, the more money we earn. Tang Tang said. Okay, where should I go to find you tomorrow morning? Asked Xiaochen. It's the noodle shop where you took us to have a buffet yesterday. The street behind it is the morning market street. I set up my stall there every day. Tang Tang said, if you can't find me tomorrow morning, you can call me. Xiaochen nodded and wrote down the address. Then he said, I'll be there on time tomorrow morning. Then I'll wait for you. Tang Tang smiled and said, Xiaochen, don't let me down. Hee, I won't. Xiaochen didn't talk about the distribution of benefits with Tang Tang, because Xiaochen knew that Tang Tang would never treat him badly. Xiaochen and Tang Tang's whisper was not loud, but it also attracted the attention of Zheng Xiaokuan in the front row. Hey, what are you two talking about mysteriously? You're so low that I can't hear you. Zheng Xiaokuan was not a cultivator. His six senses were not as strong as Xiaochen's, so he didn't hear clearly what Xiaochen and Tang Tang had said before. Xiaochen said that he would sell breakfast with me tomorrow, said Tang Tang. Zheng Xiaokuan was slightly stunned. He didn't expect that Xiaochen would sell breakfast with Tang Tang. In fact, Zheng Xiaokuan had always wanted to get up early to set up his stall with Tang Tang, but the Zheng family martial arts club had a rule that all the disciples of the Zheng family must participate in morning exercises, and Zheng Xiaokuan was no exception. This also made it impossible for him to sell breakfast, so he couldn't help but feel a little envious after hearing it. I really want to play with you, but there's no way. My family has a rule that I have to get up early to exercise. Zheng Xiaokuan thought that Xiaochen didn't know about the internal energy, so he didn't say too much and just said that he had to get up early to exercise. This is not playing, it's making money. Tang Tang sighed and said, Xiaochen is very short of money, unlike you, young Master Zheng, who has food and drink at home. Zheng Xiaokuan smiled bitterly. Sometimes he was very envious of Xiaochen. Being poor also had its advantages. Although he and Tang Tang were also best friends, he always felt that there was something missing between them. In the past, before Tang Tang became what she was now, she was still Yu Xiaochuan's fiancée. At that time, Zheng Xiaokuan felt that Tang Tang was unattainable in his eyes. Although the Zheng family was also one of the aristocratic families, there was a big gap between them and the Tang family. Later, the Zheng family was replaced by the Lu family, and Zheng Xiaokuan felt that the gap between his and Tang Tang's identity was too big. However, when Tang Tang became fat, the marriage was broken off by the Yu family, and she left the Tang family. Zheng Xiaokuan sadly found that there seemed to be a barrier between him and Tang Tang. Tang Tang became ordinary and had to run around every day to make money. In Tang Tang's eyes, he became a young master. In fact, Zheng Xiaokuan didn't want to be a young master. He would rather be like Xiaochen, an ordinary poor student. With a sigh, Zheng Xiaokuan said with a smile, first of all, I wish you a great fortune. I will definitely go to support you when I have time. However, before that, you must bring me some fried dough sticks and soy milk that you can't sell every day. Of course, no problem. I'm a foodie. Tang Tang laughed. In fact, how could Tang Tang not see Zheng Xiaokuan's feelings? However, she was Yu Xiaochuan's fiancée before, so she didn't think in this direction at all. Although the two were classmates since childhood and could be regarded as childhood sweethearts, Tang Tang was engaged and only regarded Zheng Xiaokuan as a brother. Now, Yu Xiaochuan broke off the engagement, and Tang Tang became ugly. Although she was free, it was difficult for Tang Tang to regard Zheng Xiaokuan as a brother again. Moreover, she didn't think that the Zheng family could marry her as a daughter-in-law. Zheng Xiaokuan could only shrug helplessly. Although he was smiling, his smile was full of helplessness. However, sometimes he also thought that even if Tang Tang was not engaged now, his father would certainly not accept her. Tang Tang's entangled relationship with the Yu family, as well as Tang Tang's current identity that was neither high nor low, had become an obstacle to this marriage. Although the Zheng family was not an aristocratic family now, it had not been hurt to the core. It was the time to recuperate. What the Zheng family needed was a beneficial marriage that could bring the Zheng family back to glory, not a marriage like Tang Tang's, which had little to do with the Tang family. Of course, with Zheng Xiaokuan's character, if he forced her to do so, the Zheng family would have to agree. After all, Tang Tang was not a girl from an ordinary family. Even if she nominally broke off the relationship with the Tang family, it was impossible to let her go. However, at that point, the Zheng family's situation would be even more difficult. This was not what Zheng Xiaokuan wanted to see, unless his strength improved by leaps and bounds, reached the third stage of the inner force, and became the leader of the younger generation. If he set foot in the third stage of the inner force before the age of 20, he would have the opportunity to be apprenticed to a master. Once he was chosen by those masters, his future would be meteoric. The first to the third stage of the inner force was the cultivation of the foundation. At this time, no body-strengthening elixir was allowed. Once used, it would not reflect the martial artist's own qualifications. Those masters could also see if a person used elixir during cultivation. If he used elixir, then he would be directly eliminated. Chapter 46. That was also the reason why it was not easy to cultivate the first 3 levels of internal force. Those who could cultivate internal force hoped to cultivate to the 3rd level of internal force before the age of 20. In this way, they would embark on the road of glory. Once they succeeded in cultivating, they would be valued by the family or sect where the senior was from. Their future would be even more limitless. Even if they could not meet the requirements, they would be martial artists at the 7th, 8th, or even 9th level of internal force when they came back. Just like Xiaofan and Cheng Zhongming in those days, they had learned from one master, and now they were all first-class martial artists when they came back. Zheng Xiaokuan also had this goal. First, it was for the Zheng family, and second, it was for himself and Tang Tang. As long as he was valued by those masters and seniors, the Zheng family would be able to regain its glory after he came back. The day passed by uneventfully. Miss Su and Jean Beibei drove away, and Xiao Chen, Tang Tang, and Zheng Xiaokuan walked out of the school gate together. Xiao Chen, don't forget our agreement. I'll meet you at the morning market street at 5:00 tomorrow morning. If you don't go, don't blame me for looking down on you. Tang Tang waved at Xiao Chen. Don't worry, I'll definitely go. Xiao Chen nodded and waved at Zheng Xiaokuan. Xiaokuan, I'll bring you breakfast tomorrow. Okay. Zheng Xiaokuan smiled, but his heart was full of bitterness. However, there were some things that could not be forced. Damn it! Looking at Xiao Chen's back, Lu Zhenming's eyes were full of displeasure and unwillingness. How could he just let this guy go like this? Watching him swagger away, Lu Zhenming felt that it was a kind of mockery of him, a mockery of his ability. If I don't kill this guy, I'll feel uncomfortable when I see him. If this goes on, I'll have a heart attack. What's wrong, Lu Zi? You're cooked? Yu Xiaochuan's voice rang out. Seeing Lu Zhenming's red face, which was like a cooked pig head, Yu Xiaochuan walked over and asked. Young Master Yu, don't mention it, isn't it because of that country bumpkin Xiao Chen? Yesterday, I sent out a fugitive to kill him. In the end, before he could even see Xiao Chen, he was already killed by a busybody inner force expert who acted bravely for a just cause. Lu Zhenming's voice was full of unwillingness. As he spoke, he told Yu Xiaochuan about what happened yesterday. There was no need to hide this kind of thing. Yu Xiaochuan could probably investigate it himself. What the hell? Is that even possible? Yu Xiaochuan was shocked after hearing this. He secretly thought that Lu Zhenming was really unlucky. He could even die like this. Lu, since you can't do it, do you want me to help you? Lu Zhenming was slightly stunned, and then he was overjoyed. Yes, he couldn't do anything to Xiao Chen because of the rules of the underworld, but it didn't mean that others couldn't. If Yu Xiaochuan wanted to do something to Xiao Chen, it was Yu Xiaochuan's business. It had nothing to do with Lu Zhenming. Okay, young master Yu, if you help me kill this Xiao Chen, I will be at your beck and call in the future. I can't kill him. If he provokes me, I can teach him a lesson. But if I kill him, others will say that I'm narrow-minded. Yu Xiaochuan waved his hand and said, okay, you don't have to worry about this. Let me think about how to do it first. Okay, thank you, young master Yu. Lu Zhenming watched Yu Xiaochuan leave and spat on the ground with disdain. Damn, a whore still wants to have a chastity. What a hypocrite. But it's good to teach Xiao Chen a lesson. At least it can calm the hatred in my heart. Yu Xiaochuan was actually a hypocrite. He did bad things, but he didn't want others to say it. This was the style of the Yu family. It was said that Yu Xiaochuan worshipped Yu Buchuan in the smiling, proud wanderer since he was a child. He took him as his idol and wanted to become someone like Yu Buchuan one day. And his previous name was not Yu Xiaochuan, but Yu Xiaoxing X. As for what his name was, not many people knew. When he was very young, he changed his name to Yu Xiaochuan, which meant that he was the juvenile version of Yu Buchuan. The reason why Yu Xiaochuan helped Lu Zhenming was not because he had a grudge with Xiao Chen, but because he wanted to rope in Lu Zhenming. He would be in charge of the Yu family in the future. At that time, if Lu Zhenming was his underling and also supported him, then the Yu family's influence in the other families would rise. Xiao Chen still didn't take a car. Instead, he ran in the direction of the villa area. Yesterday, he met two pursuers. Today, he probably wouldn't be so unlucky to meet them again. As expected, nothing happened along the way. When he passed by the pharmacy that morning, Xiao Chen subconsciously stopped in his tracks and took a look inside. In the end, he saw Hong Yan's elegant figure. She was currently sitting behind the counter, quietly reading a book. She was filled with a classical beauty, just like a lady from a wealthy family in ancient times. However, just as Xiao Chen was looking at Hong Yan suddenly raised her head and looked outside the window of the pharmacy. She also saw Xiao Chen and smiled at him. It was as if his peeping had been discovered. This made Xiao Chen a little ashamed. Fortunately, Xiao Chen's skin was thick after all these years. Even a machine gun couldn't penetrate it. He also smiled at Hong Yan, then waved his hand and left the pharmacy. Hong Yan blinked her eyes and put down the book in her hand. The impression that Xiao Chen gave her was very special. Although this boy also liked her beauty, and although he didn't hide it, it didn't make people feel disgusted. In comparison, the so-called young talents that she met in the past made Hong Yan feel that they were especially hypocritical. Miss Yan, don't get too close to this person, but don't deliberately alienate him. At this time, Grandpa Chen's voice sounded behind Hong Yan. Hong Yan's face slightly blushed. She was startled by Grandpa Chen's words. She was a little embarrassed. Grandpa Chen, I just feel that he is very special. It is special. It is because he is special that we shouldn't get too close to him. The level that we are in is already very high. However, in this world, there is still a level of people that we can't afford to offend. Normally, we also won't interact with them. Grandpa Chen said seriously. Ah. What level is that? Hong Yen was slightly stunned and asked. I also don't know. It is just a legend. Grandpa Chen said, however, Miss Yen might be able to come into contact with it in the future. This old man is only your first teacher. I still can't come into contact with those things. After listening to Grandpa Chen's words, Hong Yen was a little lost in thought. No matter how she looked at it, Xiao Chen was a student. What kind of special identity would he have? Xiao Chen left the pharmacy. When he passed by the convenience store, he went to buy a few packets of instant noodles and some small side dishes like braised eggs. Then, he quickly ran home. Today, not long after Cheng Menjing arrived home, she saw that Xiao Chen had returned. She looked at the time and remembered that Xiao Chen came back nearly an hour later than today. She suddenly became a little unhappy. Xiao Chen, where did you go yesterday? You also bought instant noodles today. Why did you come back so soon? I say, miss, yesterday I was bargaining with someone. After dawdling for an hour, they only gave me 30 cents. Today, because I am a repeat customer, they automatically gave me 30 cents. Xiao Chen said with a bitter face. Thinking that the money in his pocket was getting less and less, Xiao Chen suddenly had an idea and came up with such an excuse. Yesterday, you delayed for an hour just to save 30 cents? Cheng Menjing felt a little unbelievable. Of course, I say, miss, you also know how poor I am now. I don't have an income, but I can't just sit around and eat. Xiao Chen spread his hands and said, even instant noodles are not cheap. These things every day cost 30 to 40 yuan. You only gave me 100 yuan. Don't mention taking a taxi, I even saved the bus fare. I walked back on foot, pooh. Cheng Menjing looked at Xiao Chen's miserable appearance and couldn't help but laugh. Really? Are you exaggerating as much as you say? You actually walked back? Yes, I am. Xiao Chen sighed and said, this convenience store is between the school and the villa area. I can't buy it even if I take a taxi. Are you really Xiao Chen, Xiao Chen? Cheng Menjing stopped laughing and finally believed Xiao Chen's words. Where is the 10,000 yuan that Jingxian gave you? In case of emergency. Xiao Chen couldn't say that he bought the medicine. He could lie to Tang Tang, but he couldn't lie to Mississippi. As the former fiancé of Miss, some of his common information was probably already on Miss's desk. She knew clearly whether he took the medicine regularly or not. Moreover, although Miss was on his side, she was a member of the Cheng family after all. It was not that Miss would betray him, but he was afraid that Miss would be tricked by the elders of the family because of her simple character. If that happened, it would be in vain. Miser. Miss rolled her eyes at Xiao Chen and said, from tomorrow on, I will increase your food expenses by 50 yuan. You don't have to pay for it. 50. All right. Xiao Chen sighed and thought to himself, you're the one who's a miser. But it's better than nothing. Looking at Xiao Chen's discontented look, Cheng Menjing was a little angry. If it were not for fear that the Cheng family would find out that she gave Xiao Chen money, she would give Xiao Chen 100,000 yuan, so what? But she brought Xiao Chen to the villa as a servant to torture Xiao Chen, not to give him money to enjoy. Cheng Menjing didn't believe that the Cheng family would not investigate. If Xiao Chen was well-fed and had a good life, then Xiao Chen would not have a few good days. Here, this is for today and tomorrow's bus fare. Cheng Menjing opened her wallet, took out 200 yuan bills, and handed them to Xiao Chen. Xiao Chen took it and put it in his pocket without standing on ceremony. Then, he said, there's one more thing. I might have to leave early tomorrow morning. However, I'll put the instant noodles in the lunchbox, add the seasoning, and boil the hot water. You can just make it in the morning. What are you going to do? Cheng Menjing was slightly surprised. I am going to sell breakfast and earn some extra money. Xiao Chen smiled. You? To sell breakfast? Cheng Menjing was scared by Xiao Chen. Where are you going to sell it? There is a morning market street near the school. I am going to buy fried dough sticks and soy milk there. Xiao Chen said. You are going by yourself? Cheng Menjing didn't expect that Xiao Chen would make such a request, and it was a little difficult for her to respond for a while. No, Tang Tang has been there for a long time. I am going to help. Don't worry. Xiao Chen said. As soon as she heard the two words, Tang Tang, she didn't know why she was inexplicably angry. She stood up with her hands on her waist and stared at Xiao Chen. Xiao Chen, are you going to rebel? It's not like I'm not giving you money. Why are you selling breakfast? Don't you know that you are my exclusive servant? Chapter 47. Xiao Chen didn't know why Cheng Menjing suddenly got angry. He was a little puzzled, but she was the first Mississippi. After a moment of silence, Xiao Chen said, Well, I'll go at 4 o'clock and come back at 7 o'clock to cook for you. I won't be late, you. Cheng Menjing was even more annoyed by Xiao Chen's answer. She was not an unreasonable person. Go out at 4 o'clock and come back at 7 o'clock. However, she didn't know how to refute him. At this moment, the first miss missed Jean Bebe a little. If this little devil was here, she should have a way to deal with Xiao Chen, right? Now, she could only stamp her feet and snort, do whatever you want. You don't have to come back. I'm not that delicate. However, you've delayed my meal. 50 yuan will be deducted from your food expenses. From the day after tomorrow, I won't pay you anymore. After being deducted 50 yuan by the first miss, Xiao Chen could only smile bitterly. He shook his head and walked into the kitchen to boil some instant noodles. Yi Xiaoye was still preparing the medicine in the kitchen. However, it was obvious that she didn't intend to boil it in the kitchen. She would take it upstairs after setting the proportion and filling the water. Seeing Yi Xiaoye, Xiao Chen suddenly remembered that he still needed her help, so he said to her, Yi Xiaoye, can you lend me your electric clay pot? What are you going to do with it? Yi Xiaoye looked at Xiao Chen strangely. I'm also going to boil medicine. Xiao Chen said. There would be a smell of medicine when boiling medicine. Even if one was locked in a room, there would be a slight smell. This couldn't be deceived. Of course, Xiao Chen wouldn't say that he was going to use it for cultivation. He just said, I haven't been feeling well recently, so I bought some medicine. No. Yi Xiaoye looked at Xiao Chen strangely and shook her head coldly. I have money to buy it. I don't need yours. Xiao Chen smiled bitterly and said, I'm just going to use it once. Xiao Chen had the 200 yuan that the first miss just gave him in his pocket. Together with the money he had before, he could buy an electric clay pot. Don't you know that medicinal materials can't be mixed and boiled? My clay pot has boiled my medicinal materials. If I boil your medicine, there will be problems. That's not good for both of us. Yi Xiaoye explained, my herbs are priceless, and each set is expensive. You won't be able to pay for it if you break it. But Yi Xiaoye didn't lie. My medicinal materials are very expensive. You can't afford it. You can't afford it. Xiao Chen said. Xiao Chen said. Xiao Chen said, Xiao Chen. You Xiao Chen dozens. Well, I'm sorry. I don't know about this. I'll buy one myself. Xiao Chen could only postpone the plan for another day. I still have a new one that I haven't used. You can use it. You buy the same one and give it back to me. Yi Xiaoye looked at Xiao Chen and said lightly. Thank you. Xiao Chen said gratefully. He didn't expect Yi Xiaoye to lend it to him. It's nothing. After Yi Xiaoye mixed her medicinal materials, she took the clay pot upstairs and said, come with me. Xiao Chen followed Yi Xiaoya upstairs. Cheng Menjing looked at Xiao Chen with a strange expression. She heard the conversation between Xiao Chen and Yi Xiaoya in the kitchen. She was just puzzled. Why is Xiao Chen not feeling well? Is it because he is tired of walking to and from school every day? Was she being too harsh on him? Thinking of this, Cheng Menjing felt a little ashamed in her heart, but she suddenly changed her mind. Something is wrong. That day in the gym, Xiao Chen was very vigorous. His body looked good. He beat Ma Gangmen until he was looking for his teeth on the ground. It didn't seem like there was a problem with his body at all. Is he using the electric clay pot for other things? The miss subconsciously opened the backpack that Xiao Chen threw on the sofa when he came back. She rummaged in it and really found a bag of medicinal materials. This time, it seems that Xiao Chen is really going to boil the medicine. Is he really not feeling well? Cheng Menjing wanted to care about it, but she gave up after thinking about it. She didn't want Xiao Chen to misunderstand that she still liked him. No, she had never liked him at all. Xiao Chen followed Yi Xiaoya to the door of her room. Xiao Chen was about to follow, but he saw Yi Xiaoya turn around and say to Xiao Chen, "Don't come over. Just stand here and wait for me." Obviously, Yi Xiaoya didn't want Xiao Chen to see her room, so she asked Xiao Chen to stop. However, Xiao Chen wasn't a voyeur. Although he was curious about Yi Xiaoya's room, he still stood in place. Yi Xiaoya entered the room and closed the door. After a while, she came out with a paper box and handed it to Xiao Chen. "Here, remember the model and brand. I want the same." "Thank you." Xiao Chen took the paper box, but when he saw the price tag on the paper box, his mouth suddenly twitched twice. Motherf *Ker, 999 yuan. In the past, when Xiao Chen saw the slogan of 999 yuan on the TV shopping, Xiao Chen thought that what good things could he buy with 999 yuan. But now, 999 yuan was a sky-high price for Xiao Chen. My herbs have very high requirements for the temperature and material of the clay pot. Only this kind of clay pot can do it. The other ones aren't good and waste the herbs. Yi Xiaoya seemed to see through Xiao Chen's mind. She explained, "Of course, you don't have to use it. Tomorrow, you can buy a cheaper one. At the farmer's market, you might not even need it 99%. Xiao Chen's heart was slightly shocked. Luckily, I spoke too much and borrowed an electric clay pot from Yi Xiaoya. If I blindly buy one, wouldn't I be blind to my herbs? One had to know that his medicinal ingredients were also very precious and had great uses." Thinking of this, Xiao Chen quickly said, "When I earn enough money, I will return it to you." "Cheng Menjing doesn't give you a salary?" Yi Xiaoya nodded and asked casually. "No. Our relationship is more complicated. It's not easy to explain in a few words." Xiao Chen shrugged. "Oh." Yi Xiaoya apparently didn't want to get to the bottom of it, but she seemed to have some contempt for Xiao Chen. She responded and didn't say anything. She turned around and went back to the room. Xiao Chen took the electric clay pot downstairs. When he saw that his backpack was opened, he was slightly surprised. As for the missy, she didn't mean to be sneaky at all. "Why did you buy medicine? Is there really something wrong with your body?" Although Cheng Menjing thought it was a bit unbelievable, it was true that Xiao Chen bought medicinal herbs and borrowed the electric clay pot, so Cheng Menjing was a little puzzled. She finally couldn't help but ask. "It's not a big deal. During this period of time, I have great joy and sorrow. It's an emotional problem. These medicines soothe the liver and the stomach." Xiao Chen explained casually. "Oh." Cheng Menjing nodded. "I thought you adapted well." "Huh, there is a process to adapt." Xiao Chen said with a smile. "I'm starving. When are you going to make instant noodles?" asked Cheng Menjing. "The water is boiled." I'm going to get it now. Xiaochen turned and walked to the kitchen. His heart was warm. The Missy and Yi Xiaoya's personalities were somewhat similar. They were cold on the outside but warm on the inside, and they both had a bit of a Missy's temper. Yi Xiaoya treated Xiaochen well. The Missy also quietly cared about him, which made Xiaochen feel that his current life was not bad. After making the instant noodles, Xiaochen put it on the dining table and asked Cheng Menjing to eat the noodles. Cheng Menjing put down the TV remote control in her hand. She tidied the hair on her forehead, tied it up, and pinned it on a hair clip. This was the first time Xiaochen saw a Missy without bangs. At the moment, Cheng Menjing looked a little lazy and casual. It turned out that the goddess was also an ordinary person in her daily life. What are you looking at? Have you never seen a beauty before? Cheng Menjing felt that Xiaochen was staring at her. She felt a little uncomfortable being stared at. Xiaochen shifted his gaze and smiled. I realized that it was a mistake for me not to pursue you before. Humph. It's too late now. Although Cheng Menjing said so, she was quite happy in her heart. She didn't know why Cheng Menjing cared about Xiaochen's affirmation. Was it because he was her ex-fiancé? Of course. Shen Jingxian and Kerlin aren't bad either. Xiaochen said. Playboy. Cheng Menjing was just a little happy, but after listening to Xiaochen's words, she became angry again. Do you think you're the head of the Xiao family? You still want to have multiple wives and concubines? Even the head of an aristocratic family doesn't dare to marry me or Jingxian as a concubine. He he. Xiaochen smiled. It was indeed like this. In an aristocratic family, although some men would have concubines in addition to the main wife, the concubines were usually ordinary people. It was impossible for them to be the Missy of an aristocratic family. Mine doesn't taste good. I'll give it to you. Cheng Menjing ate 2 mouthfuls of the instant noodles in the lunchbox and found that the taste was not to her taste. It was sweet and spicy. She didn't like it, so she directly exchanged the beef-flavored instant noodles that Xiaochen hadn't eaten yet. Xiaochen was a little speechless. He pointed at the instant noodles that the Missy had eaten and said, "Is this considered taking advantage of you? I'll reluctantly let you take advantage of me." Cheng Menjing went back yesterday and thought about it. In fact, what Yi Xiaoya said was also right. If this was considered as an indirect kiss, then was staying in the hotel considered as an indirect bed? Xiaochen looked at Cheng Menjing's appearance. It didn't seem like she was taken advantage of at all. She ate with relish. He was speechless. He picked up the chopsticks and ate the sweet and spicy noodles that the Missy had eaten that night. It really wasn't delicious. I won't buy this flavor next time. Xiaochen thought. With the Missy's saliva, Xiaochen finished eating and went to wash the dishes. He didn't have any dirty thoughts in his heart. He had a good position for himself. Now it was unrealistic to flirt with Missy, so Xiaochen simply didn't think about these things. After dinner, Missy continued to watch TV. Xiaochen went back to his room to brew medicine. Brewing medicine in the room, Xiaochen finally imagined how painful Yi Xiaoye was. The room was filled with a strong smell of medicine. Even if the window was opened, the smell wouldn't disperse for a long time. Moreover, according to the prescription of Elder Heaven Ancestor, this medicine needed to be brewed for 5 hours. One medicine could be brewed 3 times. In other words, Xiaochen had to endure for 5 hours every day. Chapter 48. Fortunately, for the sake of strength, Xiaochen could endure anything. After spending 5 hours in cultivation, the body-tempering potion was successfully brewed. Elder Heaven Ancestor, should I take it now? Xiaochen heard the alarm of the electric clay pot, so he asked. This high-end electric clay pot was good. Not only could he set the temperature, but he could also set the time. There was no need to worry that it would run out of time. You can take it, but after taking it, you need to exercise your body and completely absorb the potency. Elder Heaven Ancestor said. Exercise? Don't I practice every day? Xiaofan asked as he unplugged the electric clay pot and poured the potion inside into the bowl. Exercise is different from cultivation. Cultivation is to regulate breath, absorb the spirit of heaven and earth, and transform the essence of the sun and moon into yuan qi in the body. But exercise is to exercise the body, which is the so-called martial artist's cultivation method. Elder Heaven Ancestor said. Oh. That is to say, I need to exercise in order to fully exert the potency of the potency? Xiaofan asked. Yes. Elder Heaven Ancestor said, you will exercise the way you used to exercise. I don't need to tell you these things, right? I understand. Xiaofan picked up the bowl of medicine and drank every single drop of the medicine into his stomach. Then, he began to train his body just like how he trained his inner strength in the past. Before practicing inner strength, there was a set of body movements. Xiaofan had practiced this set of body movements for more than 10 years. Although there was no progress, Xiaofan still practiced for more than 10 years. Now, he was very familiar with it. After drinking the potion, Xiaofan began to dance in the room. It was inevitable to make noise when practicing. In the past, Xiaofan was in the basement of his room, so it wouldn't affect others, but it was different in the villa. The sound of banging suddenly attracted the attention of the Missy who was watching TV outside. Cheng Menjing was disturbed by the sound of Xiaofan. She directly pushed the door into Xiaofan's room. When she saw Xiaofan exercising, she couldn't help but be slightly surprised. She wanted to scold Xiaofan for not disturbing her watching TV, but when she saw Xiaofan exercising, Cheng Menjing couldn't help but feel sad. Now, Cheng Menjing finally understood why Xiaofan had the strength to defeat Mengmen. It turned out that Xiaofan was exercising in his spare time. Cheng Menjing was very familiar with this set of body movements because Cheng Menjing had also practiced it. Seeing that Xiaofan was very familiar with this set of body movements, Cheng Menjing understood how hard Xiaofan worked when there was no one around. It wasn't his fault that he couldn't practice inner strength. He had been working hard and never gave up. Cheng Menjing thought, if I knew Xiaofan was like this before, would I like him? Thinking of this, Cheng Menjing couldn't help but shake her head. There was no if. It was impossible for me and Xiaofan. It was meaningless to think about these things. Did you exercise every day before? Cheng Menjing couldn't help but ask. That's all. Xiaofan smiled and said, I was sweating after drinking the medicine just now, so I exercised a little. Oh. Cheng Menjing didn't believe Xiaofan's words, but she didn't expose him. She probably guessed that Xiaofan wanted to be low-key, or Xiaofan cared more about his face. After practicing for so many years, it was really shameful that he couldn't practice inner strength. So the miss didn't say anything. She closed the door and sat back on the sofa in the living room. After a few days of getting along, Cheng Menjing's impression of Xiaofan had changed greatly. The Xiaofan that she saw next to her and the Xiaofan that she heard before seemed to be two different people. Cheng Menjing really couldn't imagine that Xiaofan could walk to and from school just to save money. It was also hard to imagine that Xiaofan actually haggled with the convenience store owner for an hour for a few cents. It was even harder to imagine that Xiaofan actually wanted to go to the morning market to sell breakfast. Shaking her head, Cheng Menjing didn't know who to believe was the real Xiaofan, but Cheng Menjing still understood the truth of seeing is believing. Rumors were rumors after all. What she saw was the truth. After continuously exercising for an hour, Xiaofan could feel the meridians all over his body were warm. The medicine had spread throughout his body, giving Xiaofan an indescribable warmth. He felt that his body seemed to be a lot lighter, and his meridians were more robust. What surprised Xiaofan the most was that on his body, there was a thick layer of sweat that looked like black oil, with a fishy smell. Could it be that this was the legendary bone marrow cleansing? In the past, Xiaochen had only heard of similar scenes in legends, but in his understanding, the people in his family didn't seem to use this kind of bone marrow cleansing to temper the body. Was it because they didn't know, or that martial artists didn't need to temper the body? These were things that Xiaochen didn't know. After all, he wasn't a martial artist. His understanding of martial artists was only superficial. He wasn't even a level 1 inner force martial artist, so he didn't understand the world of martial artists at all. Elder Heaven Ancestor, is this the waste excreted from my body? Xiaochen couldn't help but ask. Yes, it is. Now you can take a bath. Elder Heaven Ancestor said, this process, 3 days is a course of treatment, a total of 5 courses of treatment, and the first body tempering is completed. What you should think about now is how to make money to buy the remaining 4 sets of medicinal herbs. Thinking about the money to buy the medicinal herbs, Xiaochen was a little depressed. With the meager income from selling breakfast, it was extremely difficult to collect the full price of 50,000 yuan for 1 set of medicinal herbs, even with a discount price of 10,000 yuan, it was extremely difficult. However, Xiaochen really didn't want to ask for it from Cheng Zhongming. Although he could ask for it, Xiaochen didn't want to reveal his purpose and strength too early. Moreover, there should be a lot of people watching Cheng Zhongming, at least the Cheng family wasn't a monolithic block. If Cheng Zhongming could make the decision, he wouldn't have been kicked out of the Xiao family. Therefore, he had to be careful. After taking a hot bath, Xiaochen lay on the bed to rest. Without completing the body tempering process, Xiaochen couldn't continue to cultivate. The 3rd level of the qi refinement stage was still far away, which made Xiaochen a little anxious. The current situation had reached a certain degree of urgency. If Xiaochen didn't have the strength to protect himself, it was very likely that he would die under the next wave of enemies' attack. Xiaochen rolled out of the bed in a daze until 3:00 in the morning. After a simple wash, he went out of the room and went to the kitchen. He filled the electric kettle with water, plugged it in, set it to boil, and then put the instant noodles into a lunchbox. After adding seasoning, Xiaochen remembered that Miss didn't like to eat dried vegetable buns, so he put it aside. After doing all this, Xiaochen braved the darkness, left the villa, and quickly ran in the direction of the morning market street. At this moment, there was no bus, and Xiaochen couldn't afford a taxi, so he could only walk. Fortunately, after entering the 2nd level of the qi refinement stage, Xiaochen's physical strength and endurance were much better than before. It should be known that a level 2 inner force warrior was not a joke. It was equivalent to the explosive force of an ordinary person, which was twice the explosive force of an ordinary person. At this moment, Xiaochen was much stronger than Xiaochen when he ran back from Songlong Mountain on foot. When Xiaochen ran to the morning market street, it was close to 4:00 in the morning, and the sky was gradually getting brighter. On the morning market street, all kinds of peddlers began to set up their stalls. Some sold vegetables and fruits, some sold chicken, duck, fish, eggs, and miscellaneous small goods. There were also some swindlers who sold dog meat with sheep's heads, such as satellite receivers that could receive hundreds of TV stations, magical detergents, mosquito repellents, and dog scares. Soon, in the stalls selling breakfast, Xiaochen saw the chubby figure of Tang Tang. She was riding a tricycle alone, moving down the oil pan, gas tank, and noodle table from the tricycle one by one, and placing them in an open space. Xiaochen quickly ran to help, and grabbed the gas tank from Tang Tang's hand. Xiaochen. So early? Tang Tang was a little surprised to see Xiaochen. She told Xiaochen to come at 4:00 yesterday, but in fact, she wanted Xiaochen to get up at 4:00. She didn't expect that Xiaochen had arrived before 4:00. Thinking about the villa area where Xiaochen lived, which was not close to here, he should get up at least at 3:00. How did you get here? Jogging. Xiao Chen set up the gas tank and helped Tang Tang set up the noodle table. He didn't know how to do other things, but he was good at manual work. Jogging? Tang Tang was a little shocked. She had thought that Xiao Chen's adaptability was strong enough, but she didn't expect that he could run to sell breakfast so early in the morning. Even she didn't have such perseverance, did she? I don't have a car, and I can't call a taxi. I can't earn enough money. Xiao Chen spread out his hands and said, "Don't look at me like that. I usually run back after school every night. I'm used to it, and I'll save as much as I can." Xiao Chen, I admire you a little now. You are a real man. Tang Tang said with a sigh. Puff. A real man? It sounds like the name of a health product. If you weren't my buddy, your words would really be misunderstood. Xiao Chen joked. In front of Tang Tang, Xiao Chen was very open and had no pressure. Yes, we are buddies. Tang Tang nodded, pointed to the oil barrel in the car and said, "Help me pour the oil." Okay. Xiao Chen picked up the oil barrel with one arm and began to pour oil into the oil pan. The oil barrel was made of iron, and the soybean oil in it weighed 100 pounds. Xiao Chen lifted it with one arm without any effort, which made Tang Tang a little surprised. I didn't expect that your arm strength is so strong. If I said that I practiced on the plane, would you believe me? Xiao Chen laughed. Facing Cheng Menjing's photo? Tang Tang was really a tough woman. She could even answer such a question. Ahem. How is that possible? Xiao Chen coughed twice. It's better to show your photo. Your taste is really heavy. Tang Tang naturally didn't believe it. She pouted, but she wasn't angry. Chapter 49. After the oil pan was set up, it was preheated on the side. Tang Tang began to knead the dough skillfully, and then made the dough into the shape of fried dough sticks. She said to Xiao Chen, "Do you understand? The process of kneading the dough is not difficult. You learn it first. The main thing is the heat of frying. I'll do it. We'll talk about it when you're proficient." Okay. Xiao Chen was now a cultivator, and his 6 senses had been greatly improved. It was easy for him to remember Tang Tang's kneading steps. When Tang Tang began to fry the first batch of fried dough sticks, Xiao Chen began to knead the dough. At the beginning of kneading the dough, Xiao Chen tried his best to do it according to Tang Tang's method. But after Xiao Chen kneaded the dough a few times, he unexpectedly found that he seemed to have a spiritual communication with the dough in his hand. This situation was very mysterious. In short, Xiao Chen could feel the dough in his hand and how to knead it best. This made Xiao Chen shocked. He thought it was his illusion. But looking at the dough in his hand, it was more plump than Tang Tang's, and the shape of the fried dough sticks was also very uniform, which made Xiao Chen very surprised. Elder Heaven Ancestor, is this the ability of a cultivator? Xiao Chen recovered from his shock. He immediately thought of the fact that his 6 senses had been enhanced, so he quickly asked. Of course, but it's the first time I've seen someone cook with the ability of a cultivator. Elder Heaven Ancestor said teasingly, cultivators are extremely high-end existences. Who would have nothing to do to cook? I'm forced to do this. Xiao Chen was thick-skinned. By the way, so I have a talent for cooking? It's not that you have a talent for cooking. It's that your ability to accept new things is much stronger than ordinary people. Because your 6 senses are strong, you can perceive the changes in food very well, and it's the same for other things. Elder Heaven Ancestor explained. I see. Xiao Chen didn't think there was anything wrong with his cooking. On the contrary, he was quite happy. Originally, he thought he would have to learn for a few days before he could master it. After all, he had never done it before. But now it seemed that he could cook better than Tang Tang. Did you do this? Tang Tang looked at Xiao Chen incredulously, her eyes almost popping out. "Did you need this dough? Did you make these deep-fried dough sticks?" "Yeah." Xiaofan nodded. "Xiaofan, don't tell me that you used to be a stall owner." Tang Tang threw the fried dough sticks made by Xiaofan into the frying pan. The fried dough sticks were plump and uniform. Tang Tang's craftsmanship was good, but it was just practice makes perfect. Plus, she was more hardworking, so the fried dough sticks she made were the best-selling ones in the morning market. However, when Xiaofan's fried dough sticks came out of the frying pan, there were obviously more people waiting in line. There was no other reason. The deep-fried dough sticks were too tempting, and they looked good. Not only that, but Xiaofan's speed of making it was also fast. After all, Xiaofan was now equivalent to a second-level inner force warrior. His strength was greater than Tang Tang's, which greatly reduced the kneading time. Coupled with the perception of divine sense, Xiaofan avoided detours and repeated kneading steps when kneading the dough, so he had a great advantage in speed. Looking at Xiaofan's hands constantly producing deep-fried dough sticks, Tang Tang and her customers were shocked. "Isn't this speed a little too fast?" Xiaofan's speed was fast, and Tang Tang's speed was also fast. After all, Tang Tang's frying pan was relatively large. In the past, Tang Tang kneaded the dough and fried the deep-fried dough sticks by herself, so the speed was naturally slow. But today, Xiaofan kneaded the dough and Tang Tang fried the deep-fried dough sticks. The speed naturally increased, but even so, it was still in short supply. It was true that today's deep-fried dough sticks were exceptionally good, but there was often a phenomenon in the market that the stall with more people would have more and more people. Everyone liked to join in the fun. When they saw that there was a queue for something, they would go to see what it was. This was also the reason why Tang Tang's breakfast stall had a long queue. Tang Tang originally held the idea of helping Xiaofan. Even if he couldn't help, he planned to give a part of the profit to Xiaofan. But now it seemed that it was a wise move to pull Xiaofan into the group. In just a short time, the number of deep-fried dough sticks sold was equivalent to the number of the usual morning. It was just that the deep-fried dough sticks needed to be leavened. Tang Tang didn't make so many noodles last night, so the leavened noodles she prepared were sold out quickly, and the customers were still queuing up. "I'm sorry, everyone. The noodles are sold out. I will prepare more tomorrow. If you didn't buy it, you can come back tomorrow." Tang Tang saw that there were still so many people queuing up, so she quickly cupped her fist and said to these customers. These people saw that Tang Tang's breakfast stall was sold out. Although they were somewhat unwilling, they still went to other breakfast stalls. Tang Tang and Xiaofan had already begun to close the stall. "Well done, Xiaofan. I didn't know that you have this kind of talent." Tang Tang was surprised and delighted. In the past, the leavened noodles she prepared every morning were usually sold out. The rest, in addition to the breakfast she brought for Xiaofan and Zheng Xiaoquan, were given to the old lady in a nearby grocery store who helped her store the car and equipment. But she didn't expect that it was only 6:00 today, and everything was sold out. "How much money did you make?" asked Xiaofan. "Excluding the cost, I can make more than 200 yuan of profit. Today is the day with the most profit. In the past, it was good to make 150 yuan. Tang Tang's face was full of satisfaction. Looking at her, it seemed that she was not the fair, rich and beautiful girl she used to be. Not bad. Xiaofan was not like the previous Xiaofan, who was happy to make money. He also knew that some things couldn't be rushed. At present, he could make as much money as he could. It was useless to be anxious. Xiaofan helped Tang Tang to ride the tricycle, and Tang Tang sat in the back of the car. It was quite like those couples on the street. Generally, the couples who did small business were this combination. The husband pedaled in front, and the wife sat in the car. They went to the stall together and closed the stall together. When they came to the grocery store where Tang Tang usually stored the tricycle and equipment, the old lady of the grocery store had just opened. Seeing Tang Tang, she smiled and greeted her. "Tang Tang, why did you close the stall so early today?" "Today there is one more person, so the sale is faster. It was sold out at 6 o'clock. Tang Tang pointed to Xiaofan and said, "But there is no more left, auntie. There is no more left for you." It doesn't matter. I'm alone and can't eat much. If you give me some, I'll steam some steamed buns to eat. If not, I'll eat something else. I can't even use the money I earn from the grocery store." "That's right." The auntie waved her hand and said with a smile, "I'm happy that you can earn more money. Seeing a girl like you setting up a stall early in the morning, I'm heartbroken. Now that you have a boyfriend, I can help you." Tang Tang, a girl, was a little shy because of the old lady's words. When she was about to explain, the old lady continued. "Young man, Tang Tang is a good girl. Although she is a little fat, she is honest, knows how to live, and can bear hardships." The old lady turned to Xiaofan and said earnestly, "She is not like those gold diggers in society. She is good-looking, but she always begs to be friends with rich people. If she wants a boyfriend, she will find a tall, rich, and handsome man. How can she live?" Xiaofan listened to the old lady's words and didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He didn't expect the old lady to be so fashionable. She knew everything about rich people and tall, rich, and handsome men. She was really fashionable. Xiaofan wanted to explain, but he was afraid that if he said it, Tang Tang's self-esteem couldn't stand it, so he nodded and said, "Auntie, I know, this old lady is nagging again. Well, you have to go to school, right? I won't delay you. Go ahead." The old lady waved her hand and said to Xiaofan and Tang Tang. They said goodbye to the old lady and went out of the grocery store. Tang Tang said, "Xiaofan, I'm a nagging person. Don't take it to heart. It's okay. Aren't we good buddies? It doesn't matter." Xiaofan smiled. "That's true. I'm being unreasonable. Let's go to school." Tang Tang glanced at Xiaofan and asked, "Do you want to take the bus?" "Do you usually take the bus?" Xiaofan asked. "It's only one stop away from the school. It's not too far. I walk there." Tang Tang said, "Seeing that you are also a fan of the 11th route, let's go together." 11th route? Xiaofan was stunned. 2 ones. Isn't it similar to 2 legs? It's the 11th route. Tang Tang smiled and said, "Haven't you heard of it? This metaphor is quite high-end. It's the first time I've heard of it." Xiaofan used to drive himself or have a driver to go to school. He had never passed by the 11th route. The two walked to the school together. It was still early. However, just as they entered the school gate, Tang Tang suddenly stopped. I forgot to leave you some breakfast. You haven't eaten yet? Didn't you not eat either?" Xiaofan indeed didn't eat. There were so many people in line. He was embarrassed to leave a portion for himself. "I'll consider it as losing weight. But with your appetite, if you don't eat, won't you starve to death at noon?" Tang Tang looked at Xiaofan and said, "I'll buy you a few steamed buns." "No, I'm not very hungry today." Xiaofan found that when he didn't cultivate, the need for food was not as strong as before. He didn't cultivate yesterday, so he wasn't hungry at the moment. It was just that he was busy in the morning, so his stomach was a little empty. Why don't we be extravagant for once? Buy a bag of milk and a bread to eat Western food. Tang Tang thought about the money she earned today. She was a little happy, so she joked. She didn't wait for Xiaofan to speak. She took Xiaofan's hand and ran to the small supermarket near the school. Xiaofan was slightly stunned. In fact, with his strength, he could easily get rid of it, but it might be because the person holding him was Tang Tang. He didn't guard against it. If he was pulled by another girl, Xiao Chen would be very uncomfortable. Although he used to be a playboy, it was only on the surface. It was just for survival. When did he hold a girl's hand? You're tuning into the Xiaofan's Wuxia Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.